great lineup of SUVs, from Bronco Sports and Explorers right up to the Ford Expedition, and Ford trucks from the Ford Maverick, Ranger, F-150, and Super Duty. Ford employee pricing is the biggest event on the Nisku Ford calendar, but hurry, it won't last forever, and inventory is limited. Take advantage of employee pricing today at Nisku Ford. Above expectations.
Caesars is Alberta's anytime, anywhere sportsbook. Stay in the action with your favorite teams and players. Whether you're camping, kayaking, or catching a show this summer, bet wherever you are, whenever you want. Plus, Caesars Sportsbook offers fast payouts and flex parlays, a new way to keep your bet alive even if a pick misses. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app today.
Must be 18 or older and physically present in Alberta to gamble. Must be 21 or older to use Caesars Sportsbook. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply. Please play responsibly.
Alberta, we're wild and tough and beautiful. We agree that good enough isn't good enough. And though everything that matters starts with a home and a family. At Lux, our family has been handcrafting windows and doors for this incredible place for over half a century. And there's no place we'd rather be. Everything we are is windows and doors. A company born and bred and made in Alberta.
Recently, our company softball team lost the big game by 1 run. Then Dale tried to console us with the quote, "Winning isn't everything." Well, Dale and I are very different. I get early payout from Bet365. If my team goes up big, I get paid out instantly, even if they blow the lead later. Sound familiar, Dale? Thanks, Bet365.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply.
Sports 1440, the Stingray radio station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Oiler Insider and Jersey Aficionado.
Second time in the red zone for the Elks. This time the give to Rankin finds a crease, cuts back into the end zone. Touchdown, Edmonton. Justin Rankin finally breaks free.
60% talent, 40% Swedish hair cream.
Swing drive will hit right. Suzuki back. It's gone! It is gone! It is gone! 3 homers for Baez! Major League history at Wrigley Field!
It's all gas, no brakes.
This little play is executed at a high level.
They need 3 scores here. This time the play fake. It's inside, it's intercepted. J.J. Ross goes back the other way. Only Chad Kelly can prevent him from scoring. Ross has it. And he is going to score. Edmonton running away with this one.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we're here to stay.
The Tom Gazzola Show on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Good morning. It is Friday, August the 21st, and the Toronto Blue Jays win a 7th straight series. They remain red hot. Canadians are in the hunt down at the Royal Mayfair at the CPKC Women's Open, and it is game day for the Edmonton Elks tonight at Commonwealth Stadium, welcoming in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, leading the season series 1-0 after their victory back in week number 4. Good morning to you and welcome into the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brennan Douglas in for Tommy G. One final morning as we send you off into the weekend, hopefully on a high note and hopefully down to Commonwealth Stadium tonight to root on the green and gold. However you are taking in the program today, as always, we greatly appreciate it. You can watch the show. It's streaming on our YouTube page, Sports 1440 AM. You can check it out on our social feeds as well, Facebook, X, Instagram, even Twitch. And while you're over on the YouTube page as well, don't be afraid to drop us a subscription. That's always greatly appreciated. And you can like the video as well. And don't be afraid to get involved in the comments section as well to put a bow on our YouTube page. And just for the listening format, hey, no shortage of options there either. The reliable terrestrial AM radio dial while you're cruising around the city. Maybe you're on your drive to work, taking the kids to school, whatever the case, or preschool or getting ready for school, I should say, as we are still in late August. And then streaming options, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn app, Radio Player Canada, and our own website, sports1440.ca. The show, as always, is brought to you by Bet365. Canada just hit the biggest home run of the summer. Bet365 is available in Alberta and here to stay. Download the app, must be 18 plus. Please play responsibly. It is Friday, which here on this program means it is Feel Good Friday and, of course, Playlist Friday. There was a request waiting for Donovan when he opened up his computer this morning to get one going. So field in your message if you got a walk-up song, something to send you into the weekend in a good mood to open up one of our segments today. We're happy to do our best and get it over the airwaves for you. 1-833-401-1440 is how you can get a hold of us for that and your general thoughts as, once again, Elks, Bombers tonight from Commonwealth, 7:30 kickoff. It's late, but it's supposed to be a beautiful afternoon and evening on tap. So looking forward to what is hopefully another very solid turnout to root on the number one place team in the West Division of the CFL. And after some time away, including a pit stop in his native Winnipeg, Manitoba, we are so happy to welcome back in the co-host chair for the next couple hours, CFL legend, Grey Cup champion, Vanier Cup champion, all-decade team in the Canadian Football League, and Double E, the real number 97, Deal Eddie Steele. Eddie, welcome back, my friend. Good to see you. I missed you on Monday, man.
I'm back, baby.
He's back, baby. How are you?
Baby, I'm good, Duke. I'm good. How are you doing, man? It's been a long time away. I missed you, boys.
Yes. Well, we missed you too. And how was your trip? You went back to Winnipeg for a few days, handful of days, or what was that?
Yeah, we were in Winnipeg for about 6 days, just shy of
Wow.
a week, but with some travel days in there. It was about a 10-day
flew it or drove
vacation,
it?
air quotes. We drove it. We drove it with the kids. So that's why the vacation is heavily air quoted.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
That couple, it was just you, Steph, and the kids.
Yeah, me, Steph, the kids in the old Toyota Sienna minivan.
In the wagon. Hey, man.
Yeehaw.
Well, I've been on plenty of family road trips. I'm not. There haven't been any that long. Like we've driven out to Quesnel, BC with everyone packed in the vehicle. We've driven out to eastern part of Saskatchewan, where my mom's kind of originally from a little bit, but to go all the way to the Peg, man, that is a long haul. How many hours?
It's a
actually is it
12-hour drive.
12-hour drive.
No matter how you slice it.
So do you guys make it in one straight shot, or you stop over because of the kids and everything?
Great question. So typically when I was playing ball, that's an easy straight shot myself. You know, I'd spend my off seasons back in Winnipeg, even while I was playing with the Double E back in the day. So it's a 12-hour drive. It's easy to get here. With the kids, we break it up. So we would go to Regina. That's an 8-hour drive, and then 5 from Regina into Winnipeg, or 7.5, you know, however it works. And then vice versa out to Saskatoon, and then the tune on.
back.
And
Yeah.
Kids can break it up, have the hotel with the water
Yeah,
slide.
oh yeah, they
makes
probably
it more
love
fun,
it. And,
good memories.
And your two bundles of joy, they travel pretty well. They don't mind the road trips. Used to it maybe a little bit of making it a couple different times because I have to think it's so different now where you've got like the iPads and stuff to keep them entertained. Maybe you know, the flip down DVD player in the van or something like that to put a movie on. Whereas in my youthful years, best I could do was a Discman. I had my whole little suitcase of CDs I'd flip through and listen to like 3 different albums of Toby Keith, and then we still hadn't even got to Edson yet, right? And that was just for the drive to Hinton, which was about 5 hours or so from Delburn, let alone going all the way out to Saltcoats in Saskatchewan or something like that. So.
Yeah, the kids, they were well, and we're not anti-tech. We'll let them have a movie on the iPad.
Yeah.
They're not roaming the iPad playing games or anything like that, but we'll set them up with a movie. Lots of drawing. We bought a bunch of Lego kits. And with my wife, she's
Lego in the car?
In the car. My wife she's on the ball. She's like that crafty mom, always got all these cool ideas and stuff. So she had trays of goodies and all this. So she had these big trays that they could build the Lego in so it wouldn't make a mess and go everywhere.
That's sweet.
So, man, those were our killers, you know, having the sacks of Lego.
What a savior that can be. So you're telling me your kids aren't exactly like playing I Spy on the same Saskatchewan canola field for 6 hours
You remember
straight.
doing that too?
Oh, God, yeah.
Gee
And
whiz.
I think it probably is different on the train you're traveling. Like I said, if you're driving across Saskatchewan, or for us going to Hinton, which was the most common trip, it's like, oh, I spy a pine tree. turn off road. Like that's really all you're getting for about 3 hours straight for the most part. And,
For real.
Then ditto across the beautiful plains of Saskatchewan. So, but Eddie, we're glad to have you back, and couldn't come at better timing too, as obviously it's game day for the green and gold. We haven't had a chance to talk to you since last week's win over the Argonauts. So really quickly, I do want to revisit that with you about what we talked with Coach Killam yesterday, and these were his comments immediately post game too, about a real 3-phase win. And going into a final game before a bye week, when you know on the other side of that bye week, you've got 2 massive games where you're probably going to see some of the biggest crowds you have of the season. Now, that's an interesting comment because of the great turnout we had for the Saskatchewan game, but it's something you're certainly looking forward to with the Labor Day and the rematch. So where do you assess this team at this stage of the season in week number 12, where they played a great version of football coming off 2 losses, but it was against a much more middling caliber opponent and should prove a tougher test tonight, I would think, against the Bombers?
Well, they did exactly what they needed to do in that game against Toronto. That it was a good bounce back game. It was expected for them to come out with that type of an effort. And quite honestly, I thought they would have a solid effort, but they actually went above and beyond. And I think that this team outperformed even what I anticipated to thump Toronto by 30 points it was. And Toronto's no slouch. Like, they're second in the East now, dude.
We were certainly talking about them in a higher light coming into the game than we were by the time the game was over. Right? We knew the defense could still be gotten a little bit, but the real, to me, test was going to be how they stood up to Chad Kelly and their air raid attack, and they did so unbelievably well. Right? They had the 150-yard bomb to Coxie downfield, but then after that, I had the numbers on Monday. Only 3 other passes were completed for over 20 yards, and it was 21 and 24 and 24 respectively. And when you're a team that has no run game and really relies on the splash play stuff, they gave him quite a bit of underneath. Kelly finished over 250 yards passing, but that seemed to be really in the management type of approach to the game, and say, don't let them beat us over the top. And they really succeeded in that. So I thought they made Toronto look very pedestrian in that football game.
And they didn't play with their food because they were coming off 2 straight L's to some solid teams, Sask and Montreal, some upper echelon teams. Montreal, we know what they are. They're the best in the league. So they had to come out and put forth that competitive, solid game, which they did. And they stomped them, man. Now, Winnipeg, today is going to be a tough one. It's going to be a slobber knocker because Winnipeg is playing desperate football, and they're a physical, aging but physical football team. And again, this is going to be another test for the Double E to rise to, even though they have the 7-3 record. Well, I'm expecting them to go 8-3 tonight. Even though they have the better record, we're still, I hate to say it, but it's in slightly improve it mode still. Wouldn't you agree with this Double E team? Yes, we know they're a good football team, but we just want to see more and more of it. I'm very confident when they go into games, but still, there's moments throughout the game where I still kind of feel the past maybe creeping in. But this team, they are showing that that's not who they are.
Yeah.
But still, I believe they have to continue to earn that trust, because even myself as a proud alum, I need to see it still.
It's a fair comment because of how tight the standings remain, particularly in the West Division, right top to bottom. There's only a few games separating first from fourth. And I do think that Edmonton and Saskatchewan kind of exist in that second tier of team behind Montreal, who, despite a little early scare, mollywopped Ottawa last night. And I wish I'd flagged the tweet. I can't remember who sent it, but it essentially said, like, if Stuart Johnson has the power to move the goalposts, he should have the power to call this game after 3 quarters.
The old mercy rule.
Oh my goodness. I had it on, and the amount I was actually paying attention to it definitely faded as we got into it. And then, yeah, the fourth quarter, like,
me too.
I'm out of this.
That's exactly how it went for me.
I'm done. But anyway, to your point, how congested the West Division is, and it does seem like really on the right night, any one of the teams can beat any one of the others. I do think Saskatchewan and Edmonton have proven that they're in the top. And then you got BC and Winnipeg, and maybe Calgary still hanging on to that kind of second grouping of Western Division teams that still has a lot to offer, because we've seen their offense is still on season aggregate very, very dynamic. So I'm not quite as at the level you are where I want them to prove it again. But, I mean, it's football. Consistency. It's a week-to-week game. The coach himself says it, right? We're trying to go 1-0 every week. And when you're playing in division, when you're playing against rival teams, it's just that much more prudent and important to accomplish.
And make no mistake, I believe in this team. Like I thoroughly believe, and I do have a confidence because they are proving it. They with these bounce back games, the competitive games, they're not in games, and you see when teams fold like a cheap tent sometimes. Edmonton doesn't have that in their DNA. They're going to fight, they're going to battle, and that in itself is a sign of a team that has championship DNA. It's just that the stain of the past 5 years is still there. There's residue.
Right.
You know, it's getting washed away, but there's that slight residue. Sitting at 7-3 though, Duke, through 10 games, if you would have told me that last year, I would have said, give me that all day, baby. Give me that all day, because right now the record is what it is, and they are the second best team in the CFL.
Yeah.
And they have some tight battles with Montreal.
We are going to continue to tee this game up as the morning progresses, including a look at the Elks depth chart, which came out towards the end of yesterday's show. And as Coach Killam kind of alluded to and talked with him, no changes. So what does that mean for the team? Who's going to have to step up in the continued absence of some important players? And we're going to take a Winnipeg perspective here right after our first break with Jeff Hamilton from the Winnipeg Free Press and CFL 110 podcast. At 8 o'clock, Mark Spector will be by to wrap up the week for our daily 8 o'clock chat with Spec. We'll go in or out with Donovan at the end of the 8 o'clock hour. And then at 9:20, Jonathan Alexander from the Houston Chronicle covering the Texans. Yes, of course, I'm hosting this week. I have to have a hit talking about my favorite team. I do it when we're talking hockey with the Ducks. I'm going to do it when we're talking football with the Texans. And they win in pretty resounding fashion over the Raiders last night in their week 2 preseason matchup. Pick 6 on Fernando Mendoza. I'm excited to talk a little NFL stuff with Eddie before he pieces out here today as well. And then 10 o'clock, after we hear from Cam Tate, and Cam and Eggs at 9:40, we'll go golf with a G-Man as we do every Friday for the final hour of the show. Long-time golf pro in our province and across our country, Gary Meyer. We'll talk CPKC and BMW Championship. And then at 10:20, Ray Milne, lifetime pro with the PGA of Canada. A great accomplishment for him. We'll check up with another one of Gary's many old buddies across the industry. Just before we go to our first break, let's say good morning and welcome in the man on the other side of the board. Full house this morning, Eddie. I was not expecting to see Connor the Younger in here, but he's in as he's ready to head back to Calgary for the weekend, so he's taking the early shift. Josh Fenwick keeping us on track online with our digital producing, and then Donovan Paulson, the take machine, back for one final Friday with me before he gets what I do believe is a little less pressure, a little less goading, a little less of a hard time when Tommy G makes his return on Monday. Donovan, happy Friday. Good morning to you, my friend. How are things?
Things are great.
Did you go and get piled up last night like you said you were going to?
No, I didn't get piled up. I did have a couple of drinks.
You got in one?
Pardon?
You got into one?
This man got into one.
I got into a fun night. We'll call it. We'll put it that way. I had a nice time with the fellas last night, and yeah, I saw my good buddy who works at a certain other specific spot, and we had a good time. And you know, no free press for them over there. They don't need it. But
the enemy.
I had fun last night. Had a couple of beers. Had a nice patio beer.
What patio? Where'd you go?
We were waiting for one of my other buddies. So we just stopped at Original Joe's. Just had a quick patio beer while we were waiting. Because what else are you gonna do while you're waiting for a guy to, finish packing?
Packing.
Oh, packing.
Packing who?
Well, packing up for going to Canmore this weekend.
Oh, right. Yeah, Donovan's out of town.
I'm excited. So I'm killing this day as quick as she can go.
Donovan,
he can't wait to get out.
Love the show.
Don't ever say something like that to me again. This version of this show in particular, there's no mail it in Fridays around here, buddy.
Oh, I'm not mailing it in, but
You just said you're mailing it in.
No, I said we're getting through the day. I'm excited to get to Canmore.
Wait.
I love Canmore.
Unreal. Well, we've got an action-packed, fully jammed-up show for you here over the course of the next 3 hours, 45 minutes or so. And right after the break, Jeff Hamilton from the Winnipeg Free Press and CFL 110 pod will give us some Blue Bombers perspective ahead of tonight's Week 12 matchup between the Elks and Bombers. Watch our show. It's streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Text us with your playlist Friday requests, 1-833-414-40, and thoughts heading into tonight's matchup and anything else that is on your mind. Brandon Douglas sitting in on the Tom Gazzola Show one final day this week. Eddie Steele alongside Josh Fenwick, Donovan Paulson, and Connor the intern joining us too. The show brought to you by Bet365.
Mr. Rooter cries like a little tiny baby child.
Hey, Mr. Rooter, you've got a package from Mrs. Rooter.
Aw, the card says, "Thank you for our unbreakable bond. You're the Pro Press fitting to my copper pipe."
Ooh, what's in the package, Mr. Rooter?
Let's see. It's a Plumbus 2000 spud wrench. She knew I'd never buy one for myself.
Just like tears. It's flowing or it's free with Mr. Rooter.
I love that woman.
Don't let rookies scratch your custom wheels. Evolve Wheels and Tires uses premium touchless equipment designed to protect your wheel and tire investment. Trust the enthusiasts at Evolve Wheels and Tires, Edmonton's premium wheel specialists. Evolve your ride. Evolve your experience.
For all your welding supplies, think AWS Welding. Located in Nisku, their readily stocked storefront carries a wide variety of welding glasses, cylinder rentals, plus welding rod, wire, and consumables. Same-day delivery is always available. And if they don't have it, AWS Welding will find it for you fast. Visit their online store today at awswelding.ca or give them a call or text at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. They make it happen.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Legendary is here with BetMGM Casino. Download to check out over 4,000 casino games, including exclusive slots like Survivor and hundreds of live dealer games. Unlock Vegas Magic and sign up for the BetMGM app. See BetMGM.com for terms. 18 plus, Alberta only. Please play responsibly, subject to eligibility requirements. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. BetMGM operates pursuant to an operating agreement with the Alberta iGaming Corporation. Standard message and data rates may apply.
The Tom Gazzola Show with guest host Brandon Douglas
on Edmonton's sports leader,
Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
We're off and rolling on a Friday. Welcome back to the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas in for Tommy G. One final day. We got the former CFLer Eddie Steele alongside co-hosting, and he was vibing out to a little Gwen. You like that, Eddie?
That's nothing wrong with that. That's a good feel-good Friday in here. Game day, baby.
I was making some jokes with you before the show started about how Donovan's having himself a pretty rough week, and I've contributed to it. I've been giving him a hard time. But I'm okay with that. That's kind of our fun dynamic. But he comes in this morning, and in the system over there on the computer, the name still typed into the search bar was Akon. And he's like, oh, are you trying to like send me a subliminal message? You come in here and get here before everyone else and type Akon in. I love Akon. It was a huge part of my childhood growing up, right? When I like discovered music that isn't country music. And Donovan just assumes that I put it in there to tell him to play Akon or something. I was like, there's other people at the station that are around the same age as me that probably also have a pretty big affinity, aka Declan last night at 6 o'clock. And Donovan's like, Akon sucks. He never said that.
Came in hot for you.
Donovan was not willing to admit that Akon was him, capital H him, which he absolutely was. Let's get to our headliner of the day. It's brought to you by Mr. Rooter Plumbing, the MVP you didn't know you needed for all your plumbing needs. Go to mrrooter.ca. Happy to welcome in Jeff Hamilton from the Winnipeg Free Press, as well as the CFL 110 podcast out in Winnipeg. Jeff, good morning. Thank you very much for hopping on with us. Welcome to the show. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Brandon. Eddie, good to see you, my man. I'll make it quick. I have a quick Akon kind of story myself. Being a 90s kid, graduated in 2004, would have been shortly after that time. I forget which Akon album came out exactly, but me and my girlfriend at the time picked it up, a CD at the time. And that was what you did with your free time for dates or whatever. We just drove around, and I got so sick of Akon after about 2 hours of listening to it. I literally threw the CD out of the window, and that was the end of our date. It was hilarious. Anyways, back to real stuff.
Shameful, Jeff. But hey, I guarantee he doesn't care. You bought the record. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm not. There's no Akon hate. I've definitely reminisced from those songs. They hit you in the if you're from that era, Brandon. We are. It's a good artist. There's definitely some bangers.
So Akon and T-Pain. I could not get enough
voice,
of
the auto-tune.
those two. Oh, it was so awesome. Jeff Hamilton out of Winnipeg joining us now on the Tom Gazzola Show. So, Jeff, tonight's matchup, it's a big one for both teams. Eddie and I was kind of alluding to it in our opening segment that in his eyes, the Elks still have a little bit to prove in terms of stringing together good efforts against quality teams after the consecutive losses to Saskatchewan and Montreal, bouncing back in a big way last week against Toronto. On Winnipeg's side of things, man, they're still scrambling for every win, want to keep themselves in the mix towards the top half of this Western Division. I want to start with this. What is different about this Bombers team here in week number 12 compared to the one that the Elks defeated back in week number 4 in kind of the season's early goings?
I think it's a great question, and there's not really an answer because the Bombers are still trying to figure out who they are. And in week 4, the question was, who are the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? Now, as we enter week 12, I think the question still is at 5-4, who are the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? And I think that question continues to be asked because we're still kind of living in those, at least here in Winnipeg, those glory days of 5 straight trips to the Grey Cup. You don't go to 5 straight trips to the Grey Cup and just instantly lose respect. And that's not just from media. That's from teams across the league. I mean, even last year when the Bombers ended up being the crossover team, every time an opposing team would come in or anyone talked about the Bombers, there was still that respect. And so I think there's a bit of an identity crisis here in Winnipeg. So I guess to answer the question, they're improved, I suppose. I mean, they Zach Collaros is back now. During that stretch, it was a bit of a QB carousel. Obviously, Drew Brown had some time. Taylor Elgersma got some action, but there really wasn't any kind of chemistry or fluidity on offense. I think Zach certainly brings at least composure back to the offense and certainly some confidence. We all know Zach, if he's anything, he's a winner. So, I mean, I think the difference here is really maybe a little bit of progress, but certainly not enough to compete in this West Division, which is shaping up to be a pretty good one.
Now, Jeff, you had mentioned the fact that, going to 5 straight Grey Cups, some people might be still living in that lore, but the reality is on the roster, there's many key pieces from those runs that are still there, yet it's an aging roster and it's well documented. What are your thoughts on some of the roster players that are, the Stanley Bryants, the Willie Jeffersons, Jake Seresny, even, who is coming and having a lights out year, but they're aging. Zach Collaros, what are your thoughts on how their season is playing out thus far, even though Winnipeg is sitting at 5-4 and only 2 games behind Edmonton for first in the West?
Eddie, I find it to be a really fascinating situation in Winnipeg. To your point, there are a number of players and key players from those, dynasty years, if you will, or glory years of going to the Grey Cup. So there still has that feel, right? And even some of the players, after last season particularly, but even the one before that where they lost their 3rd straight Grey Cup, the kind of conversation was like they're convincing themselves that this group is worthy of another opportunity or should be. And at points, I'll be honest, it's been kind of cringy. The issue this year, obviously we've seen some more turnover certainly in the years before that in Winnipeg. And notably this year, you mentioned Jake Seresna, right? There was, Tim White, Tommy Neild on offense. There's Moxie on defense as well. Like those are veteran players, guys that, are recognizable names that were brought into a team that in previous years never really dipped their toes in free agency. And, I don't want to say, I've been saying this on my CFL 110 podcast for the last few weeks and some shows as well. I think the issue here in Winnipeg, it's not bad leadership. It's different leadership. It's not like, so like the Adam Bighill, like he brought that standard, right? I mean, I don't know how familiar you guys are, but it's been talked about endlessly about the FIFO, right? The fit in or F off kind of mentality. It doesn't feel like that in Winnipeg anymore. No one really talks about FIFO anymore. And again, I don't think it's bad leadership. And in some ways, it's not even different leadership. Like you have guys like Brady Oliveira who have risen into that role, right? You still have guys, as you mentioned, Willie Jefferson, Zach Collaros, right? Like there's still Nick Dembski, like there's still staples and leaders on this team. I just think almost in a weird way, guys, the players are different. And whether it's bringing in new guys, which is, this, Eddie, bringing in moving pieces is not always the best situation. Like continuity was the bread and butter of Winnipeg outside of their O-line strength, but has also taken a hit this year. Like, so I think I think at the end of the day, it's just not the same team, and they're trying to figure out who they are. They're trying to bring everybody into the mix. They're just not getting that crispness of execution that you get when you have guys in their prime year after year after year.
Well, interestingly enough as well, Jeff, Brady Oliveira has FIFO tattooed on his body.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. And he represents it, no doubt in my mind. It's just, it doesn't, it used to be like, it was like a quiet swagger. You know what I mean? It wasn't arrogant. It wasn't whatever. It was bring your lunch pail to work, get your job done, and you knew the confidence behind the eyes. That's just not there anymore. And you can feel it. And other teams, Edmonton Elks included, Saskatchewan Roughriders, the defending Grey Cup champions, the time is theirs too. Like it was kind of getting boring with Winnipeg leading the race every year. It's nice to see some other teams in the mix, and Winnipeg kind of having to go through what a lot of other teams, 8 other teams in the league had gone through, obviously, during those years.
Jeff Hamilton from the Winnipeg Free Press covering the Blue Bombers, and you can also hear him on the CFL 110 podcast. Joining us here on the Tom Gazzola Show, Brandon Douglas, Eddie Steele with you this morning. So, Jeff, injury-wise, I was chatting with Eddie, and he's always got the inside track. He's a veteran, of the league, and he knows how it shakes out. But statuses for the likes of Brady Oliveira and Nick Dembski carrying the questionable tag. Likelihood we see them in action tonight, based on your assessment from this past week.
Yeah, I mean, guys, this is, I don't want to know, I'm not going to rank Winnipeg as like the worst team for gamesmanship, but they're up there, So, I mean, Brady Oliveira was a game time decision last week, and he ripped off 150 all-purpose yards. So, this is the maintenance weeks, right? This are the weeks where, where you look at an injury, and I'm sure a lot, those two guys and other guys across the league are all dealing with something. It's just whether or not you should be pushing it in practice. But I fully expect to see both of those Winnipeg natives in the lineup tonight and making a major impact in the game.
Well, they'll certainly need to be important as some of the offensive leaders. But then you'd mentioned it already, right? Zach Collaros and his return to the lineup, and the Drew Brown thing, he made a good impression when he started, but then after that, it was kind of like, oh, right, this is why maybe Ottawa was willing to move on from him. We saw Algiersma take some snaps as well, but Collaros is really the driving factor of this team. That's a no-doubter, Jeff. But my question is, what is the future for Zach Collaros right now? Because he has been around a long time. He has had a ton of success in this league, but the injury problems, and in particular the concussion problems, have really mounted for this guy. Like, how many more kicks of the can you see Collaros really giving it, whether that be as a Bomber or maybe somewhere else in the CFL? And then in tandem with that, what's the Bombers' succession plan here behind him when he does make that decision to move on in some capacity or another?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's the number one question here in Winnipeg, right? And it's really interesting one too. I kind of take two different thoughts about like Zach's future here. Obviously, I think he's been year to year for a few years now. I think part of him, at one point of his life would have probably been nice to ride off into the sunset after winning one of those Grey Cups. I just think he's kind of, a little bit that way. And then I think you saw like the rejuvenation of Cody Fajardo, of Trevor Harris, of Bo Levi Mitchell, guys who were being told like, you're no good in this game, and then rose their games to, MOP levels. And so the part of me saw him wanting to continue. He certainly made that decision. I think, obviously you have to look at life after football and look at what your options are as far as, what you can do to make money. And as a starting quarterback in the CFL in a city that is incredibly loyal to their players, I don't know why you would just simply run away. So the other thing too is Zach has been doing a lot more media, guys. Like I feel like this might be the final season for him because of the opportunities he's going to get down the line. And I think he's positioning himself for that. I'm certainly fully dedicated to football. I mean, maybe there's another year in him here, but the other thing too is, and you guys kind of alluded to it, is that going to be his decision, right? Like if he takes another massive hit, it might not be one of those, okay, am I up for next season? Might be dictated by that. So that's certainly, up in the air. I do think this will be, I'm not going to retire the guy, obviously, but I do think this probably is his last season. We'll see what happens, but I certainly think if he wants to play more, he probably could here in Winnipeg. Now, as far as the future plan here, I think, the Bombers, I think you can look at Drew Brown, even his arrival here in Winnipeg, really good at the beginning, not so much as things kind of played out and you kind of lost a little bit of shine that he had maybe here, but, and certainly while he was in Ottawa. But, I think he is a guy that they would be interested in having here, working with. I don't think they share the same impression that, CFL pundits feel over the last couple months. I still think that they believe he's a great quarterback, dedicated, brings leadership, all those qualities. But Taylor Elgersma is obviously the guy in waiting here. And I think seeing some of his performances or lack thereof, in some of his spots here, I think has kind of calmed down the he should be the number one guy now. I think you look at, whether it's Trey Ford or, some other examples in the past where you kind of throw guys into the mix, especially a guy who's, you see this guy up close, man, like he looks like a superhero. Like it's like a guy could play Captain America in a movie, right? Like it's just, he's built for football. He's obviously has experience in the 3-down game. I just think for the sake of him and for the sake of the Bombers' future at the position, he needs time to blossom, to grow. I see him getting a much bigger role next season. If they go with like a Drew Brown, I think that could be kind of a dance between two quarterbacks. I know that's not necessarily ideal, but he's a guy that just has that raw skill set that you have to factor in sooner than later. And I think he has that mentality as well. So I think Taylor Elgersma is certainly the future. I think the question is, how deep into the future are we talking about?
Now with Elgersma, and I'm glad that you went there with it, Jeff, because we saw him in game action. We saw the reps and they weren't pretty, albeit it was very limited action. And he's been, so to speak, out of football for quite some time, doing the NFL stint, this and that, trying to get onto a roster. Is it just a sense that this guy just needs to get the reps? You're there up close, boots on the ground with eyes on the player. And you're saying that he really is all that they say he is. He just needs to get the reps essentially, Jeff?
I think that, yeah, absolutely. I think that's the case for any promising young quarterback, right? I think you have to, when you're not getting the starting reps, and teams vary, right? Back in the day, the Toronto Argonauts never gave any reps to anyone but Ricky Ray. So the idea of getting a rep in practice was for, and I think it's a little bit different here. I think as a coaching staff in Winnipeg, you need to incorporate him in getting those reps, whether it's with the second team or even parts of the first team. But I do think that's the difference. We've seen the arm. We've seen it. Like he has the raw skills, right? He's not, and this is, I'm not trying to take a shot at Trey Ford, but he has the football mechanics. He can make all the plays. He can make the smaller passes, the intermediate passes, the deep passes. He has the confidence, guys. That's the other part, right? Like, he comes in that BC game after Drew Brown gets hurt and he's pissed off that they kind of pissed it away, right? And he wanted to play after he started that game and won against Hamilton, right? Came in and won against Hamilton. He wanted to play the next game. So he's got all those things. He's got that work ethic, that drive. So I really do think it's just experience here to expect somebody to go into, Dazzle and U Sports, obviously go through that whole NFL circuit, which you kind of alluded to, Eddie. Like you're changing the way you play. You're changing the way you view the game. NFL is a different style. So you come back here. Football is football for sure, but you're going through this mental roller coaster. Now, now you're here in the CFL. I'm not saying that you got to baby this guy, but what I am suggesting, if you want the most success out of him, if you want him to be the future, you got to give him time to grow, to develop, to see more defenses. And I think the best way you can do that is reps in practice, but also incorporating him into options in games, whatever that may look like.
Jeff, when I got drafted into the CFL in 2010 to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Arlen Bruce was there, and I idolized him. I grew up watching him, right? Young Winnipeg kid. Sure. And he told me when I first got there, he said, "Steele, it's all about reps and touches, reps and touches."
Absolutely. And it's hard to get those, and you have to earn them, right? And you earn them. You don't just earn them where you are in the depth chart. You have to be doing everything right in the meeting rooms. You have to, those are valuable reps, especially and maybe it's just recency bias, guys, but it just feels like the weeks are getting shorter and shorter for these teams, and the way they approach the weeks, like the rest and recovery is becoming much more of a thing in the league. And so you're getting less reps in practice. You're pushing the body less and less each week. So it really, and I think that, just to turn around to Drew Brown for a second, that was the reason why he excelled so well. He was in that room with Zach Collaros. So that's the other part. Zach Collaros is a great quarterback, an incredibly intelligent quarterback, and an incredibly generous quarterback. Like, he's not the kind of guy who isn't, isn't going to encourage you, isn't going to teach you, isn't going to show you the film, share everything he knows. Like, that is what he does and what he'll do. And that's why I think for Taylor Elgersma, it's just so valuable for him to be in that room, see those pictures, and continue to learn. And when he gets his opportunity, whether you're Taylor Elgersma or anybody else in the CFL, you have to make it count, right? And I think he'll have a longer leash because he's Canadian and it's a fun story, but you have to make the most of your opportunities, and you got to be ready for it.
Jeff Hamilton from the Winnipeg Free Press and CFL 110, a podcast with us here on the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Last one for you, Jeff. We began this conversation talking about how the Blue Bombers have changed since we last saw them up against the Elks, but in a way that they have been the same for a long time is obviously that defense and how they can make life difficult on their opponents, particularly up front. Is for a key to success, to use a cliche and catch-all term here in your eyes, for how the Bombers can come in and take one back off Edmonton tonight? Does it really start and end with that defensive front in both shutting down the dynamicism that Justin Rankin has shown an ability, albeit a slowed down version of it since the start of the season, and then, of course, making life difficult on Cody Fajardo and taking away his time and space to deliver the ball on time and on target?
I don't need to tell you guys, it's all going to be won in the trenches. It's going to be a battle. That's where the fist fights occur. That's where the game's dictated, whether it's trying to establish the run game. And both teams are going to try to do that with their respective tailbacks, arguably easily the two best in the league, in my opinion. And certainly getting after him. I mean, Jake Serezza, you guys mentioned, he's having a good year. He's letting Willie Jefferson fly too. He's having a great season. So it's certainly going to be doing that. I think you gotta get to the quarterback. Obviously, Cody Fajardo is the heartbeat of that team. You know what I mean? And if you can knock him off his spot, if you can make sure he's not comfortable and not making, these emotional plays as he often does, that's going to take the crowd out of it. And one thing about Cody Fajardo, which I'll wrap it with, is I love his statement after last game. Because I think Cody, having been in Edmonton for a little bit there before he became kind of, obviously the starter with the club, he saw what was being talked about this team. He saw, what was being dragged. And his comments after games, particularly after last game, is what I think is an effort. And I agree with it and I believe in it, to change the narrative in Edmonton, right? Like, this is a guy who, I think they're not getting the respect that they deserve. And that's kind of the way it works, right? But to continue to put, good games together, Winnipeg is going to have their hands full. Winnipeg for years would go into Edmonton and steal their lunch money. The Elks got to take it personally here. They're a good team, the best team in the West. But this is another test, and you got to show it for a whole season.
It's Friday, so I'm hijacking this. We were supposed to go to commercial break, Jeff, but I got to ask you, you talk about the trenches really quick. Winnipeg, their offensive line play, they are who they are over the years, the dynasty that they've been because of their offensive line. And it all started back with Matthias Goosen, Suk Chung. I've never played an offensive line that physical and that dominant, and we've witnessed it for well on a decade now. How come they have regressed the way they have this season?
Loyalty? I don't know if you guys saw it a few weeks ago or a couple of weeks ago, Stanley Bryant got absolutely trucked. Like, I've never seen, him get put on roller skates in his career. And so, and again, I'm not, saying that's the beginning of the end, but he's 40 years old. I mean, obviously Patty Neufeld, tons of respect for him and what he's done in Winnipeg. You mentioned those lineups. He's as nasty as they get in those scrimmages, he's now, how much more can you ask from these guys, right? I mean, you look at, there's been some injuries too. I think, you need consistency at center. Chris Kolonkowski was there, obviously for a while, and they moved on from him. They're now a little bit of a revolving door there, and I think that can change dynamics. Jarrell Broxton's a great pickup, but he's also a new player, and he's playing over on the right side, right? So they've given Stanley that left side still, so maybe there's an adjustment there. It just doesn't feel like they have that same nastiness, because how much more can you ask of this group, Eddie? You're talking about these guys. He's been around for a decade. How much more can you bang heads and pick fights in these scrums until a younger guy or younger lines start making, noise. And I think that's kind of the situation here. It's almost where it used to be week to week, where you'd get the bully ball with Brady ending games. That's now, almost like wow, that's nostalgic when you see it. Like it's just not happening as much. And part of it's drafting too, right? Like, they had their guys and they brought guys and now they're buying guys. And that's not a recipe for success all the time. But yeah, it's certainly not what it used to be, but it's still winnable, right? Like that's, I think, the takeaway, and there's still a lot of pride there. So if Brady can kind of fill in any kind of gaps that's left from them, I think they'll be fine. But yeah, that's an area where you're going to see some changes over the next few years.
Jeff, really appreciate your time this morning. Great insight on all things Bombers. Enjoy the game tonight, and we will hopefully look forward to catching up with you as the season progresses. It was a lot of fun. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Anytime. Really had a great time with you guys. Have a great one.
You too. Jeff Hamilton, Winnipeg Free Press, and you can hear him on the CFL 110 podcast talking all things Canadian Football League. And he was our headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Rooter, batting 1,000 against clogs. That's mrrooter.ca. When we come back, we will dip over to the NFL side of things. Preseason week number 2 underway, including Fernando Mendoza getting his second start under center, the number 1 overall pick. Will he play this year?
Did you see his interview during the game?
I did. Yeah.
Oh my God. Tell Mr. Buck and Mr. Aikman hi.
I have some questions for you, not necessarily about the character, which is pretty unflappable at this point, but about the player and a few other NFL news and notes as we head into the weekend. Top of the hour, Spec will be with us, and then at 8:40 we'll go in or out with Donovan and the rest of the crew in studio. So Tom Gazzola Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by Bet365. You can watch us. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Everything is going to be okay. Any business, regardless of size, can stumble occasionally. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. If your business is facing financial challenges, our team of chartered insolvency and restructuring professionals have corporate debt recovery solutions that work. Schedule your free Faber Focus session at faber.ca today. Chances of a positive outcome increase if you engage Faber sooner rather than later.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Kickoff is coming August 21st. Elks, Blue Bombers at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. It's Country Night presented by Innova. Dust off that Canadian tuxedo and bring the honky tonk to the field. Get your tickets at goelks.com/tickets.
Ford employee pricing is on now, and you pay what we pay on virtually our entire lineup of Ford vehicles. Visit your Alberta Ford store today.
Recently, our company softball team lost a big game by 1 run. Then Dale tried to console us with the quote, "Winning isn't everything." Well, Dale and I are very different. I get early payout from Bet365. If my team goes up big, I get paid out instantly, even if they blow the lead later. Sound familiar, Dale? Thanks, Bet365.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply.
Missioner Island Auctioneering's Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Equipment Auction is next Friday at 9 a.m. featuring articulated dump trucks, backhoes, dozer, excavators, forklifts, graders, loaders, man lifts, packers, skid steers, telehandlers, turf mowers, plus commercial trailers. Info at maauctions.com.
Hi, Edmonton. If the Subaru Outback is on your wish list, now's the time to act. With only limited inventory available, these award-winning SUVs won't be here for long. The Outback has earned an IIHS top safety pick or higher for 17 consecutive years, combining legendary Subaru capability, confidence in every season, and the versatility to take you almost anywhere. Reserve yours today before they're gone. Visit your local Subaru dealership today. Welcome to Uncommon.
The Tom Gazzola Show
on Edmonton's sports leader,
Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Steele alongside. We're vibing. We're grooving. That was our buddy Tiger's request on the text line for Playlist Friday, 1-833-401-1440. The Brian Adams spot, but mixing it up with, instead of Tina Turner on the other half of the mic, it's Mel C, the Spice Girl herself, and a song Donovan was apparently a little unaware of. You like that, Donnie?
No, I know the song. I just did.
You-
I assumed he spelled it wrong. Sporty.
Sporte, he said. Sporte.
So I just didn't know. I didn't
That's
remember which
Sporty
one.
Spice.
That thing slaps.
But I just don't remember which one's which out of the Spice Girls. Sue me. I just don't remember which one's which.
You're not alone there, because their real popularity kind of preceded when we talk about my introduction into music that wasn't country music, kind of came in like junior high. The Spice Girls were.
What about Power
were gone
Rangers?
by
You
then.
guys know the Power Rangers?
Which one's the hot one? The yellow one?
I don't know the Power Rangers at all.
No, I don't know either.
One of them.
I knew one's name was Adam.
I
think.
I never actually think I watched the show or anything, but I had the game for the Super NES.
Okay,
And
yeah.
the final level, they'd all come together and make the giant robot thing, and you'd fight like the dinosaur or some crap. Like it was a lot of fun. Really, really enjoyed it. We're off. Oh, the pink one, Kyle says, of course, right? The pink one. That would be the hot one. Duh. What am I thinking? The show is brought to you by Bet365. And if you got a song request that wants to put you in a good mood heading into the weekend, fire it our way, 1-833-401-1440. Also want to hear your game day predictions. Final score for Elks and Bombers tonight is great, and maybe a bold take, a Donovan-type take that might happen over the course of the game, a final stat line, a difference-making player, anything like that. And we're going to talk a lot more CFL in the 8:20 segment with Eddie to tee up not only tonight's game, but the rest of Week 12 across the league. But right now, Eddie, as we got a few minutes before the top of the hour in spec, I want to dive into the NFL preseason with you. Now, based on last night's game, I have to assume the Houston Texans are going to win the Super Bowl this year. They looked very comfortable with a lot of backups in over especially on defense, over the Raiders. Now, we know the Raiders are not a good team, but this quarterback situation for the Raiders. So Clint Kubiak has never actually said that Kirk Cousins is going to be the week one starter, but we've seen Mendoza start play the whole first half.
Yep.
Right? That inclines us to believe that it's going to be Kirk Cousins week one. Now, my question for you is this. When it comes to rookie QBs, and particularly ones with a high pedigree, first overall picks like Mendoza, top picks, even first rounders, right? Like, we're not talking about Ty Simpson. He's clearly in waiting behind Matt Stafford. But the argument about should he sit and watch and learn, and behind a guy like Cousins, who's a consummate pro, and, his best years are certainly behind him, but can still get the job done. We saw that at points last year in Atlanta. To sit there and learn and watch and not have to take the beating that is expected to occur and maybe diminish confidence. Or there's a whole other train of thought, and this isn't like some off the cuff thing. This has been discussed by former players, by seasoned pros. Like Kyle Long, I believe, is one of the most biggest or largest proponents of it. Either you're the guy or you're not. And especially as a first overall pick, you roll them out there and say, go ahead and be trial by fire. We've seen that blow up in teams' faces a lot, most notably maybe David Carr with the Texans' career, like biggest number of sacks a QB's taken in a single season. Now, the Raiders' O-line is much improved from last year, but I do still think that whoever's under center is going to take a pretty good beating because they don't have a ton of talent at receiver. A rookie QB, things do tend to move a little bit faster, and you're kind of rushed and panicked all the time. So where do you land on this kind of debate about if we're putting it into a black and white camp, which it isn't always, but simply sit and watch, and that can be for 5 weeks, that can be for 17 weeks, or if you're the guy, go out there and show me you're the guy? Where do you land?
Usually it's a case-by-case study depending on the roster of whatever given team you're talking about. When it comes to this case study, you have a guy like Kirk Cousins. Oftentimes when you're drafting such a high draft pick like Fernando Mendoza was, usually you don't have the type of depth around him. So oftentimes you are forced into it, and you're forced into being the number one. And oftentimes you're not hitting it with a bang. Now we've seen, there are situations. Jaden Daniels in Washington, he had success as a rookie, right?
But he didn't start right out of the gate.
Who was there?
I believe it was Jacoby Brissett, right?
Was it?
And it was actually an eerily similar situation because they bring in a veteran quarterback, pay him a lot of money.
You're
like
right.
Kirk Cousins on $20 million deal this year, and Brissett was also on some pretty high money, essentially saying this is like hazard pay. Like, you're going to go out there and get the living crap beat out of you until we are ready to see our rookie go in there. And maybe the problem for the Raiders, and we've discussed it on the show over the past couple weeks, like, they don't really have that soft spot in their schedule where there's like a week or two consecutive to get your rookie guy out there and say, like, their easiest matchup when you look down the line is the Browns, who, by the way, might suck, but still have a very good defense.
Long story short, I would start Kirk Cousins and have Fernando sit, watch. I'm in no rush to get him in. He's going to be the guy. You know what? I'm a believer in Kirk. Say what you want to say about Kirk Cousins. And yes, he's coming off of that Achilles over a year ago now. But if you look at his career, he is a successful quarterback. He is no slouch. And we know that his agent is no slouch either.
The GOAT. He's the best to ever do it.
Ching, 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 ching. But the reality is, I really think Kirk Cousins is a comparable quarterback out there, and he can get the job done. And there is no need to rush Mendoza into this. I think Oakland's as well going to have a pretty solid defense. So if they can be in some tight games early on, and you never know with Kirk, he has had this injury history as well. He's 38 years old. Football is football. Fernando might get the opportunity sooner or later. We don't know. But I would go with Kirk to start the season just because of the veteran presence. And then the fire that Kirk has. He's a competitor.
For the guy with the reputation of the world's nicest, and it's kind of funny because Mendoza falls in that same camp. You were joking about the corny interview on ESPN last night, talking to Joe Buck and Troy Aikman in the broadcast booth.
Hi, Mr. Buck.
But I really think that QB series, the first season when Kirk Cousins was featured on it, really opened some eyes that this guy is going through it. Like, obviously the pain and stuff he goes through, the treatment he's getting, like, but he still wants to win and wants to play. He didn't sign this deal in Vegas with the understanding is like, I am going to be the backup quarterback. He says, like, he is a competitor, and he's been a starter for so long that there's no doubt in my mind that he wants to earn the job and then do his best to keep Fernando Mendoza at bay for at least this 1-year deal.
One of the biggest NFL stories last week would have been the fight that he got in with Max Crosby at practice.
Yeah.
You love that. Honestly, you love when your starting quarterback is mixing it up. No, you don't want him throwing haymakers on helmets. Of course not. But the gonads to say, man, get off me, respect my space, to do that to defensive players. I'm telling you, man, you love that, and that unites a team. Teams can rally around that type of stuff. That's leadership, true leadership.
The Texans won that game last night over the Raiders. The other final was Niners over the Chargers 41-17, largely all backups. We did see Brock Purdy play a series under center for San Francisco, and then rookie wide receiver Deshaun Stripling, who is probably going to need to take on a even larger role than anticipated. He had a solid night, 4 grabs for I think it was 46 yards. So, Vegas ended up winning that game last night.
Yeah, they came back
22-20. I turned it off after the first quarter, but
I watched it come back.
The first team reps for Houston that I saw on the first drive were encouraging.
Oh yeah, Super Bowl or bust, right?
That's unfortunately, I guess, the case according to Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. So
Troy despises preseason. He's not shy about it. I love it.
It is so funny how that is the case. But hey, they got to get their reps in too, just like the players.
No doubt.
So preseason reps. Good stuff, Eddie. When we come back, we'll chat with Mark Spector about tonight's Elks game. The Blue Jays, they remain red hot. They take 2 or 3 at the Trop. and they have some power in their bats. 3 home runs yesterday. What's going on?
World Series or bust?
Oh boy, don't get us going down that path.
Dare I
Eddie,
say?
just yet. We'll talk more CFL as the 8 o'clock hour progresses, and then I go in or out with Donovan to wrap it up and send Eddie on his merry way into the weekend. Before all that, let's have a Sports 1440 update brought to you by All-Star Construction. They shape and build Edmonton communities, specializing in underground utilities like power, gas, telecommunication, and street lighting. That's All-Star Construction. Here is Donovan Paulson.
The Sports 1440 update.
MLB action from last night. The Jays took down the Rays 5-1, winning a series at the Trop for the first time in nearly 3 full seasons. The Cardinals hung on to win 10-9 shootout against the Cincinnati Reds. The Guards beat the Giants 5-2. The Orioles fell to the Yankees 6-1, and the Rangers blanked the Nats 2-0 as Jacob deGrom became the second fastest pitcher to record 2,000 career strikeouts in MLB history. Some NBA news: the Cavs, they've re-signed James Harden on a 3-year, $97 million deal. Coming up next, it is Sportsnet's Mark Spector. I'm Donovan Paulson. That's your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Tap into the fun of Play Alberta's most popular casino games. From the fast-paced spins of Cash Eruption to the retro thrills of Sevens Wild, online excitement is always at your fingertips. Spin through your choice of popular slots or discover Alberta-exclusive games you won't find anywhere else. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Thinking of growing your business? In partnership with Prairie's Can, the Alberta Chambers of Commerce is helping businesses explore new opportunities, new markets, and build connections through organized trade missions across Canada. Find the right mission for you at abchamber.ca/trade missions.
Get your early morning going with the sports stories Edmonton Ashley cares about. Catch Tom Gazzola weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Sports 1440, Edmonton sports leader. Don't just listen. Join the conversation at 833-401-1440.
Mr. Rooter cries like a little tiny baby child.
Hey, Mr. Rooter, you've got a package from Mrs. Rooter.
Aw, the card says, "Thank you for our unbreakable bond. You're the pro press fitting to my copper pipe."
What's in the package, Mr. Rooter?
Let's see. It's a Plumbus 2000 spud wrench. She knew I'd never buy one for myself.
Just like tears. It's blowing or it's free with Mr. Rooter.
I love that woman.
I finished a 5K in 94th place, right after a man wearing jeans. Then a volunteer gave me a medal. But I don't want participation trophies, unless they're from Bet365. With their daily prize matcher game, I win by matching gold coins, cherries, and more. Take that, Denim Man. Thanks, Bet365.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply.
The Tom Gazzola Show with guest host Brandon Douglas
On Edmonton's sports leader.
Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Welcome back into the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440, brought to you by Bet365. Brandon Douglas sitting in one final morning to send you off into the weekend. We got Eddie Steele back in the chair alongside as well Donovan Paulson, Josh Fenwick, and Connor the intern, all in studio. Packed house this morning as we roll through a Friday edition of the show. Our text line, 1-833-414-1440. Get in on the conversation with us. We're asking for your game day predictions between the Elks and the Bombers. A score final for tonight's matchup, and then maybe a bold take that will occur over the course of the football game. Let's dive into that and some more with our buddy Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. On the Mark, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick and GMC. Mike and his team at Northgate care about the community, and for the rest of August, proceeds from every vehicle sold will go towards the Summerland wildfire victims. Only at NorthgateGM.com. Good morning, Spec. How are things? It sounds like, based on your phone conversation with Donovan, you're chomping at the bit to get into the weekend here. What's going on?
Let's go, man. Go to the Elks game tonight.
All right, Spec. All right, man. We finally goaded you into it to making your way back into the city here. So I heard a rumor, because I don't know if you know this, Spec. It's country night for the Elks game tonight. So bring your boots, bring your best Wranglers, and Eddie Steele, who's going to be going jeans in boots as a throwback reference from his Morgan Wallen concert experience. He's buying cold drinks for everyone in his section tonight where he's sitting. So you want to find Eddie tonight.
Oh, so does that mean Eddie's going to sit in one of those closed sections in the upper right there?
Oh, in fact, you know me too well. That was literally the exact joke I made to Eddie. Eddie, I said, Eddie, put this out there on the air as a a great enticement for people to come down, and then like sneak your way into the upper deck and go sit in the farthest possible corner up in the top deck of Commonwealth
Up
Stadium.
under the flags.
Yeah,
there.
exactly. And just waving at the camera. The TSN broadcast will hound him down and be like, "Who's that up there?" Oh, it's CFL great Eddie Steele. No, Spec. Bombers in town. These teams last met in week number 4, where Edmonton's defense kind of propelled them to a big victory. So, is this first one you've made back into town for on the season, right?
Yeah, I've watched every game, but this is the first live performance. So, looking forward to it. Gonna do a little tailgating beforehand with some friends, and I'm not big on dressing in cowboy boots to walk up and down those stands at Commonwealth. I'm more of a runner's guy.
Right.
But whatever. I'm here for a football game. More for a football game than if I want a Western party, I'll be honest with you, I'll go to Cook County Saloon. So,
well, you can do that after the game, Spec.
I could, but I probably won't, but I could. Yeah, you could.
So I'll close the country night conversation with this. You have to, over your many years of travels and experiences and outings, you've got to have a couple nice Pearl Snaps somewhere back in that closet, no? Pearl Snap shirts?
Pearl Snap shirt. I do not own a Pearl Snap shirt. Buddy.
Unbelievable.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't have any Pearl Snaps. No.
Do you have a cowboy hat? Anything?
Well, I got some boots that could pass for cowboy boots. When I was a long-haired ruffian in high school, I wore a cowboy hat all the time. But now I find myself hosting a big Western party out here later this year, and I'm told I got to go buy a cowboy hat. So I don't even know where you go. I guess you go to like Lamley's or something. Where can I buy a cowboy hat?
Lamley's would be the easiest one. There's obviously the one here in the mall, but there is a new boot store opening in the mall too. I think it's called Alberta Boots or something. I don't know. I got someone gave me a little coupon for 20% off. I might have to go cash in. I don't know if they'll have hats there or not, Spec, but probably more leather-based items. So
I'm not a big boots guy. I wear hiking boots. Those are the only boots I wear.
I said I was putting a bow on the country thing, but you opened up the whole new can of worms saying in high school you were wearing a cowboy hat. Like what? You're the West End cowboy?
That's what I thought. In the city. What's up with that one, Spec? That was
sounds like you should have been growing up in St. Albert, Spec, instead of West End Edmonton.
No, hey man, I was at Shep, had a big long flow back in the 80s, hair down my shoulders, cowboy hat on. Mildly interested in attending classes at Ross Shepherd High School, and far more intrigued by attending parties on the weekend at some address written on a cigarette pack. You didn't even know who lived there back then.
Spec was the man back
A tale old as time, and young Mark Spector, the pistol, roaming around West Edmonton. As Sportsnet's Mark Spector with us here on the Tom Gazzola Show. So, Spec, let's talk a little actual football then. You said you have watched every game this team in green and gold has played this season, but now finally getting to see them in the flesh up close and personal. Last week, we talked so much up against Toronto that their air raid attack and what Chad Kelly can present, the secondary would really have to come to the forefront and make an impact on the game. And they succeeded in doing so. This week, we know Winnipeg, Zach Claros is very capable back there, but the offense really does run through Brady Oliveira. So is it fair to say that you think the defensive front needs to take their turn at the in the spotlight this week to try and shut down this run game for Winnipeg?
Yeah. I mean, Oliveira if he gets away on you, if Winnipeg gets in a position where they know they're going to get 7 yards a carry from Oliveira, you'll never beat them because they'll just bang that drum all night long on you. So, yeah, I would say to you that, different teams present different challenges for sure. And just like teams have done their best to take away the weapon that is Justin Rankin when they play the Elks, when you line up against the Bombers, you better figure out how you're going to deal with Brady Oliveira because he's probably their most consistent and hard to get your hands around weapon on offense for sure. So, yeah, and the DBs aren't going to help you a ton with that job, Eddie, right? This is a defensive line and linebacker problem, is it not?
Yeah, it certainly is. It's going to be a challenge for the front seven. The beautiful thing, though, about this Edmonton Elks football team, especially with their secondary, is the way that they support and tackle when needed. So hopefully it never doesn't get to that level where the secondary players do need to get involved in the run game. This is going to be such a test, though, on the front seven. The front four specifically, I'm looking at the defensive line to really step up. Winnipeg, they go where their offensive line takes them. And if you can shut them down, because that is the key to their success, go and punch them in the mouth on the line of scrimmage, establish your dominance here at home up front, and I think Edmonton will walk out of that. Going into this game, Spec, I want to talk just the overall crowd size and just the fan base and just the momentum. We know it's not going to be a huge sellout in terms of when Saskatchewan comes, Calgary comes, but there is some momentum generated here. The team is starting to win. What more does the team need to do? Is it just continue to win and people will continue to trust them and build back that I guess that pedigree in people's mind in terms of seeing the results and coming out and supporting? Because for me, I want to see a sold out stadium, but the reality is Eddie doesn't get what Eddie wants, and you need to, I think, just continue to win. I don't know what else to do because the numbers, I'm not going to say I'm disappointed with where ticket sales are at, but I expect more personally.
Well, I think we're going to find out now, listen, the CFL's taking a beating here. Like, you go down to Calgary where they organization like we did here. The Stamps have been a first-class, competitive, give you a good team organization for the last 30 years. And their crowds are way down, right? Their crowds aren't great there. So I would say to you that the CFL has its issues for sure. But I guess you don't get from 17,000 to 40,000, frankly, even in one season. The decline took a long time, Eddie. It took a long time to get from 40,000 down to 18,000. Probably it took 20 years. You don't recover from that in 4 weeks or 6 weeks, right? So, all they could do is win. Like, you can put on your country nights and you can, put on some gimmicks and make it a fun place to come and have the super dogs running out at halftime. All that stuff's good, and an organization has to do that. This isn't me criticizing the Elks for trying hard. But in the end, none of that stuff sells tickets if the team's awful. So you got a good team, and now it's up to the city to start to build it into their summer. Like, hey, every 2 weeks I'm going to spend my Friday night or Thursday or Saturday, I'm going to go to an Elks game because we've decided that our family, it's affordable, it's a good product, it's a fun night. It's a busy calendar out there in the summer, Eddie. And these guys, the Elks, have lost their place in that calendar to a large extent. And now they got to reclaim it. And as well as they're doing, it still won't happen in one season.
Good answer.
Sportsnet's Mark Spector with us here on the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas in for Tommy G. Eddie Steele alongside on a Friday morning. So, Spec, then if we're talking about what the Elks defense has to accomplish to hold the Brady Oliveira and company in check, offensively, like it's been largely a positive spin this year with Cody Fajardo under center. But you have to think that for this team to take that next step and, compete with Montreal in say, a Grey Cup matchup, or even Saskatchewan again in maybe a West Division final or something down the line as we get into the fall, to me, it will have to involve Justin Rankin getting back to where we saw him in the early going of the season. I don't need him to have 150 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving on a night-to-night basis, but a little bit more than what we've seen in kind of re-emerging the ground and pound attack that did make this team successful in the early going, no?
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. The first 3 weeks he was looking at MOP. He was the favorite, like for the first month of the season. And then it just stopped. Like it became a thing where he, last game, the game, who they just beat, Toronto. I mean, for the first 3 quarters, what do you have? Like 12 rushing yards or something. He's not, I don't know, Eddie, you tell me, when he's hitting the line and there's nowhere to go and he's not making anybody miss, is that Justin Rankin, or is that his offensive line that needs to do a better job?
Well, here's the thing about it. I truly believe the offensive line needs to be better. I feel that Edmonton sometimes will telegraph Justin Rankin's rushes, and they're right up between the A and the B gaps, kind of inside the middle.
HB draw every play call. When
you can feel it. Where Edmonton has success is when they kind of stretch it. And when I say stretch, I don't mean run right to the sideline, but between the hash mark and the numbers, that's where Edmonton can really find a lot of success gashing defenses. But when we think back to Justin Rankin early in the season and all those wonderful plays, the highlight plays, making 3, 4, 5 guys miss, if you recall, a lot of that was in the backfield. Guys were stuffing him up in the backfield and he was still making them miss.
Spinning off of them, yeah.
So this offensive line, if we want to look at it as a whole, this offensive line, I don't think has played up to the standard that they need to play at all season, because it's not like those highlight runs were getting ripped off 10 yards down the field. Yeah. He had to make people miss in the backfield, which means guys were missing assignments on the offensive line.
Okay, so are we saying he's not making a miss anymore?
Yeah, to a degree, he's not making them miss. And the other part is the offensive line is not establishing themselves. Again, the word that I use is telegraphed. As a defensive player, you can sniff out from a mile away when Justin Rankin is going to get the ball. And oftentimes when they sub Justin Rankin out and then Javon Leak is in the backfield, the offense starts to generate more drives and different momentum because you're not really sure where you're going to get attacked from. I just feel like Coach Maksimic needs to do a better job maybe mixing up the play call. Every first down doesn't need to be a run, and he has done a good job. I'm not calling Coach Maksimic out, but it is very telegraphed when Rankin's going to get the ball. When you have success the way he did, other teams are going to say, we're not going to let that one key component go off on us and beat us.
Yeah, that's where I think it really lands here, is that teams are willing to take their chances against Cody Fajardo and the kind of dink and dunk, for lack of a better term, type passing game, try and swallow that up because we know he's not necessarily going to be a huge deep threat all the time as a passer, rather than let Justin Rankin bust off 50 yards against you. And to your point about then like closing in on him so much, I think that's why the play action has worked so well, because teams are so focused on Rankin that if you get the good play fake, all of a sudden it makes life easy on Cody Fajardo to pick apart them when he has time back there rolling out or whatever the case as a passer. So,
so here's the good news. The good news is, even in a lot of the games when Rankin hasn't been the offensive weapon that you thought he might be every single week, they're still winning.
Yeah,
they're finding a new way. Somebody else is becoming the weapon. Fajardo's moving off the run and finding receivers that are open, and you know, in the end, you can't be a one-horse offense.
Yeah.
You got to have some options here. And it's good to know that in the first 10 games of the season, some of the games, it's been Justin Rankin's work that's just buried the defense and helped your team win. And other games, he's had very little to do with it, but you still won. So that's a pretty good sign.
No doubt.
That's a sign of a championship team, right? When you can win different styles of football game, you have your identity, but you can be a chameleon and adjust to whatever game you're in and go on from there. Spec, I want to change up gears here and just discuss the CPKC Women's Open that's taking place down at the Royal Mayfair. Do you have any interest in? I know you like to consider yourself a golfer. I mean, We've all seen that.
Eddie, he
No,
did
I
his hit
don't.
from the golf course earlier this week. That's how much of a golfer Spec is.
Oh, okay,
He
okay.
picked up his ball and said, "Give me a bogey."
Wow.
And I think, man, I should just do that every hole. I'd turn in a pretty good card most rounds.
Yeah.
So not much interest in that event?
Oh, no. I mean, a couple things. I don't consider myself a golfer.
Okay.
I never work on my game, and I don't. My theory is I don't have the right to get mad when I double bogey because I don't work at it enough. If I practiced and worked, that'd be different, but I don't, and I'm fine with that. I think for me, like if someone's asking me, should I go down to Mayfair and watch these women play? I'm telling you, you have no idea how, if you haven't done it before and stood on a fairway on the other side of the ropes when a pro is hitting the ball, and a pro woman golfer is, I mean, the men, it's unbelievable, and so are the women. Like, if you've never done that, if you've never seen what it looks like to see, you know, a professional golfer hit a golf ball, oh my God, it's a whole different world than what you think you like. We all play with guys who are long hitters, right? I played with this guy, hits drives 325 and stuff like that. It's not the same thing. You go down there and you see these professional women hit the ball, and it opens your eyes to the level and what's really going on here. It is so far away from your Sunday game down at the quarry. Like, it's light years, pal. Don't even think you're close.
That is so true. And I have a follow-up to that, Spec. And this one's just on a greater scale. I wanted to gather your thoughts on Edmonton's ability to host big events that are on the grand scale like this CPKC Women's Open.
Yep. Well, first of all, I was watching it on TV yesterday, and the course looks immaculate. And anyone who's golfed around town here this year knows what the troubles that courses have had with the record water we've had. So shout out to Mayfair, like, to get this tournament this summer and not be able to have a bunch of latent water hanging around like it is at almost every other course I've played. It's unbelievable job to the people of Mayfair. Great for them. It looks on TV like, you know, as good as it could possibly look. I think, Eddie, you know, we used to be known in Edmonton as a big event town. Like, obviously we never hosted an Olympics, but we did a lot of stuff that got us a lot of great, you know, facilities, right? The Commonwealth Games, like, whoever in today's world, the Commonwealth Games is nothing. Like, the Commonwealth Games is, we don't even know when it's on. But that got the Rexall built. That got Commonwealth Stadium built. That got our subways started in Edmonton, right? Then when we had a Universiad, which again has fallen off the map, they poured money into Commonwealth to fix it up. Then we had the World Track and Fields, and that Eskimos Mafia run that thing, and they pumped a whole bunch more money into Commonwealth, and that's why that stadium doesn't look like it was built in 1974 or whenever it was built, right? So, you know, there's a ton of benefit in hosting a lot of these things, and somehow we don't seem to host as many as we used to. But I love the fact that when you host those things, if you do it right, it builds your sporting culture in your city. So, you know, we've done really well with them. I'm not sure if we've kept the pace up, guys. Do we feel like Edmonton is still a city that's known for hosting those events?
Well, to an extent, yes, but it's kind of more one-dimensional, and it's on the hockey front, right? Like I said, we had the World Juniors try and be here a couple times, and it was just unfortunate due to the pandemic and things like that. Going to get another kick at the can this winter to do so in tandem with Red Deer, and then obviously the World Cup of hockey coming here in another years plus time. So I think it's just a matter of almost some sporting, like you said, Spec, we don't care about the Commonwealth Games anymore. If it did come here, would we care? I'm really I'm not so sure, and I think we need to see it to get a real assessment on that. But I'll say this, for being down at the Mayfair myself yesterday afternoon, there were a lot of people there, and especially, I mean, obviously the following for Brooke Henderson, like hundreds of people followed her entire 18 holes, crowding around each tee box, along each fairway rope, around the greens and stuff. So that's obviously an encouraging sign. But then, so to me, that says that yes, this is a marquee event, but it is golf. And, unfortunately, like, this isn't a detriment. It is the LPGA golf. It's not a PGA event or something like that. And the turnout's great. So I do still think that Edmonton has its capacity to be a great host city. Maybe just need a few more opportunities to show up for things outside of hockey.
There you go. And it's the people. We've always had great organizers from, Rick LaLacheur and Jack Agris and all of them did the World Track and Fields. And when it first came along, people were like, track and field? What, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
We don't watch track and field in Edmonton. And by the time it was done, it was just an unbelievably successful event. So we are a city of strong volunteers. It's always been that way. When you put out a call for volunteers in Edmonton, they knock your door. So let's hope, man.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I love those sort of kind of random events that come to town and bring in people from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's tons of fun. And, it doesn't have to always be hockey, guys.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to life than hockey.
And I think the best example of that, Spec, is when those World Cup game, pre-tournament game, obviously when the Women's World Cup was here a number of years ago. I think that is another true testament that this city is a genuinely terrific spot to host major level events, and we're getting another great display of it because, like, I've never been to a golf tournament, Spec. Being down there at the CPKC yesterday, and then I was there for the Pro-Am on the afternoon previous too. Like, man, this is full scale. Like, this is not some rinky-dink operation that they roll in and put up a few, like, placards with the, stakes into the ground for signage.
Couple of tents at a tournament.
It is an immaculately put on event. There's, like, it looks like this is a spot that is hosting it every year. Like the signage, the giant block they've got out right on the turn into Harlech Park. Like it's awesome. So to your point, Spec, if anybody has an opportunity to go down, I really recommend you do it because, like you said, to see it up close and personal, it really is different. Spec, excellent stuff. Maybe Eddie and I will run into you down at Commonwealth tonight and maybe share a cold beverage or two. And then I just want to finish with this, Spec, because Tom is back on Monday. I've had a lot of fun this week doing our hits with you, but I'm away next week, so your correspondence is going to be with Donovan. I don't know if you have Donovan's cell number or not to do that correspondence, because apparently you're not even sure if you have my cell number or not. We've worked together for 3 years.
So
what do you thought your last name was?
He's searching there. He's like, how come I don't have Brandon Davidson's phone number? And it's like,
well, because you're I know. So Brandon Davidson was the guy that played for the Oilers.
yes,
right?
That's right.
So he's in my
You're
my phone.
texting Brandon. Hey, what's the deal with the show tomorrow?
I'm talking to Mel Davidson, who's your third cousin or something.
Yeah,
right?
second cousin. She's my mom or my dad's cousin. Excuse me. Yeah.
Right. So then I'm like, well, Brandon Davidson, Mel Davidson, if he's a cousin, he's probably a Davidson. How can he not be? And then I'm texting Brandon Davidson saying, yeah, can we do tomorrow's show on the phone? He probably thinks I'm a wingnut.
Oh, good. Yeah. When Connor was telling me about that exchange, when you're like, do you have Brandon's number? Like, I seemingly cannot find it in my phone. I had a excellent laugh at that. And that
I had it. I wasn't looking for Brandon.
Looking at the wrong name. And you know what, Spec? I even give you a bigger pass on that, even with the amount of time we've known each other now for a few years. When I first started and was filling in for Connor on Gregor's show back at TSN when Connor was getting married, I think Gregor called me Brandon Davidson on air more times than he called me by my proper name over the course of the 3 days I was on air with him. So you get a pretty good pass there. It just came much further down the line.
I'll tell you what, Brandon Davidson just got more mentions on Edmonton radio this morning than he did in his entire tenure as
dang.
Spec, enjoy the game tonight. Hopefully we'll run into you down to the tailgate or something. Have a great remainder of your weekend. And Tommy and Donnie and Eddie will be back with you Monday morning. Have a good one.
All right, boys. Have a great time tonight.
Mark Spector, Rogers Sportsnet, and On the Mark, powered by Northgate. This truck's for you. I just had to get that in with Spec because when Connor was telling me about it, I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean he doesn't have my number? He texts me all the time.
That's good.
Not all the time. It's always, show related more often than not, but things obviously of that nature.
Mel Davidson, the cousin, is that the coach?
Yeah. Several-time Olympic gold medalist, real pioneer in the Alberta Hall of Fame, double IHF Hall of Fame as well. We've had her on the show a couple of times to kind of talk about a couple
I
of those honors
remember
as well.
I was on with KK back in the day. I didn't know that was a family member.
Yeah,
cool.
She's a local legend, obviously around Delbert, and then even more so a little bit out by Oyen.
I have a customer, my good customer down in Red Deer.
Yeah.
Thea is her name, and Mel Davidson coached her.
Oh,
She's
really?
from
Hey.
Mirror. Yeah,
Yeah.
and speaks very highly of Mel.
Very,
That's
very
really neat.
cool. A couple quick questions about the CPKC and things going on. We'll touch on that when we return, as well as dive into the rest of Week 12 in the CFL and some more chatter about Elks and Bombers before we get to in or out to round out Eddie's 2 hours in the co-host chair. It's a Tom Gazzola show. Brandon Douglas, Eddie Steele, Josh Fenwick, Donovan Paulson, and young Connor the intern, all in studio with you. You can watch the show. We're streaming it on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. It's brought to you by Bet365.
Recently, our company softball team lost the big game by 1 run. Then Dale tried to console us with the quote, winning isn't everything. Well, Dale and I are very different. I get early payout at Bet365. If my team goes up big, I get paid out instantly, even if they blow the lead later. Sound familiar, Dale? Thanks, Bet365.
Must be 18 or older. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply. T's and C's apply.
Smart, connected, community-driven. Jason Greger sets the standard for sports talk in Edmonton. Join the conversation on Sports 1440.
Text Greger 833-401-1440.
Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Car shopping sucks. That's right. Going back and forth 100 times just to get a price. Give me your credit card for a test drive. What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. And don't forget about our employee pricing. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country. You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. Hire Good provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact. Because our team is built on second chances, and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Greger for a first-time discount. Hire Good. Stable jobs create stable lives.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The Ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the Ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
Caesars is Alberta's anytime, anywhere sportsbook. Stay in the action with your favorite teams and players. Whether you're camping, kayaking, or catching a show this summer, bet wherever you are, whenever you want. Plus, Caesars Sportsbook offers fast payouts and flex parlays, a new way to keep your bet alive even if a pick misses. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app today.
Must be 18 or older and physically present in Alberta to gamble. Must be 21 or older to use Caesars Sportsbook. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply. Please play responsibly.
The Tom Gazzola Show with guest host Brandon Douglas.
On Edmonton's sports leader.
Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Through the 8 o'clock hour on the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas, Eddie Steele in studio with you. A whole cast of characters on the other side of the board having some good laughs in the commercial breaks here as well this morning as we recollect some Mighty Ducks movie memories and a number of other miscellaneous outlandish topics. The show is brought to you by Bet365. Check out their early payout for baseball. When your team goes up by 5 runs, you get paid out immediately. No stress about blowing a big lead. Download the app and see what early payout's all about. Now, a couple questions here just about the CPKC from our text line, 1-833-401-1440, before we dive back into the CFL. To Scuff Darren, what channel is it on? I couldn't find it. So Scuff Darren, it is on TSN, but later in the day. I believe 2 o'clock Mountain is when they started the broadcast yesterday. I haven't checked today when that will begin. And then I have to think that tomorrow and Sunday, it will be extended coverage as well, as usually it is when you get into the final 2 rounds. So that is there. Another one came in about where do you park when you go down there. If I'm being honest, I would not recommend driving down there. There are some shuttles and stuff. You can like it's right at Harlack Park. So if you are driving, there is parking there. Some of the spaces are reserved lots for the volunteers and things like that. But there is some general parking, but it'll fill up pretty quickly, especially for people like tea time started at 7 o'clock in the morning, right? So if you're rolling down the afternoon, you might be hard up to find a spot. Or like if you're feeling a little ambitious, like park somewhere over by the university area, White Avish, and either scoot over there. There's a whole lane just for rideshare options like cabs or Ubers and stuff. Or even like it's a beautiful afternoon, walk down over to Harlack and kind of take it in that way. So there are options for you, but just as the case with any major event, like things like parking become a pretty, especially with like the Royal Mayfair is not built to host an
No,
like, it's a regular golf club,
exactly.
right?
There's no huge parking lot or
exactly.
anything.
And
it's got parking, but it's not.
It will be subject to availability. Will be subject to availability. And once again, man, I like Eddie being down there and seeing it. It was so cool. I loved it, and I'm unsure if I'm going to make it back this afternoon just because of the football game, and I'm planning on going for supper with a buddy beforehand. And to be very frank, my leg is in pretty dire straits right now after walking around the coursework. Like the last 2 hours or hour and a half I was there yesterday, I literally just sat on a side hill right at the hole 9 green because I was like,
just posted up.
My leg can't take it anymore. I kind of retweaked it Wednesday night at slow pitch, and I'd started physio this week, and things were like all looking up in the right direction, and now it is pretty much as sore as it has been back to like
gotta
3
baby it.
And now I'm going to go walk around Toronto for 4 straight days next week. So.
But before you walk around Toronto, you're going to be stomping and walking around Commonwealth
should
tonight, baby.
Should I put on my best pearl snap to go to the game tonight?
I don't know. Should I put on the cowboy boots, Duke?
Eddie, you have to.
I thought about it. Okay, so what should I do? Should I show up with cowboy boots and my jeans tucked in, or should I show up with cowboy boots and shorts? Athletic shorts.
If you're comfortable with that level of chafing,
athletic shorts
on the calves, man.
Now they're pretty wide. That's why I couldn't.
That makes it worse, Eddie. Because if there's more space there, then as you walk, like it's just back and forth, just grinds on it, man.
Okay.
If you manage to get a pair and this is probably more likely in your case, your calves are that big that they are literally like cinched around them. That is the best case scenario. Because then you're not getting like the chafing comes from the looseness of it, the nature. Think about it when you're running. If you're wearing Under Armour or something, it's not as bad as on the nips as say like a looser t-shirt.
For sure.
Up and down.
I'm aware of that. I guess I just wasn't familiar with the chafing of the boot because I'm used to tucking my boots in.
Yeah, jeans on the inside.
Or my jeans in, sorry.
I think you should tuck them. Go tuck. No, it's gonna be, and like if you're wearing just the boots and your shorts because the weather's gonna be nice, your feet are gonna be sweating like crazy anyway. I think you go denim in.
Denim in. And just have the denim in, guns out.
Yeah, exactly. Now that is a sight I will like to see. And I know you're always big for call to action on getting people down to the game and stuff, Eddie. You can still win some tickets right here on Sports 1440. Just text ELKS, ELKS to 1-833-401-1440. You'll automatically be entered. Got a couple more pairs to give away over the course of today ahead of tonight's kickoff, 7:30 at Commonwealth. Get there early. Go check out the tailgate, all that jazz. Tailgate last game was absolutely bumping.
Oh,
Or I
I
should say
bet.
the last couple games, because I'm
Yeah.
going back to the Saskatchewan
That's
game.
where I'm going back to.
Saskatchewan game, and then I actually
The
wasn't there.
Toronto
last
was
week
an
'cause
early tailgate.
early, midday tailgate. I wasn't there, but I heard secondhand that it was just as rowdy
Today
and
will be
active
awesome,
as
man.
ever. So, Eddie, I want to kind of revisit something I brought up with Spec to you about the responsibility on the defensive line here compared to last week, where we said, man, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the secondary to perform. And they did. They really lived up to it and had themselves a great afternoon. Now, up front, there are obviously still some injuries, guys stepping in the place of some other, injured players. But it's the same lineup we saw last week. There's no changes.
Yeah.
Like the guys that are missing are still going to be missing. So how impressed have you been with the depth of this team, particularly, I will say, in the linebacking core?
Yeah, I've been extremely impressed. And we know the depth going back to last year when Nick Anderson was out. Brock Mogensen had to step up, Joel DeBlanco. Now you have Daryl Jabome, and I'm really pleased.
And then last week, and Cordell Jackson's a real unicorn back there. Like, he can kind of do it all and play almost any position inside the secondary. And so he slides up to playing some
Step up in the
linebacker
box.
as well, right? And he's a smaller guy.
He is, but
right? He's just such a dog
can
to
do it
bone
all
when it comes to hounding the ball. So it's really blowing me away. And you talk about that, and then all of a sudden you pulling him up out of the secondary, or whomever out of the secondary, to play linebacker. Well, now you have another spot in your secondary you have to fill. And last week it was Trez Reed, or the last couple games, I guess, maybe for Reed. And it's like, well, he performed just perfectly fine back there in a tough spot against Chad Kelly and the Argos. So it's been great on that side of the ball. And I know how much you focus in on the defense because of your obviously past playing one of those spots up front.
And yeah, you talk about the linebacker depth. We just named a bunch of names. But the reality is it's overall team depth that this Double E organization has. We look at the offensive line, Mark Court, they had a trio of interior. So their guard, center, guard, I really believe going into the season was the best interior trio in the CFL. All three at a given point in time during the season have been out due to injury, and it's next man up mentality. And this team is still producing wins, sitting at 7-3. So that's truly the sign. And I keep talking about this championship pedigree, championship teams, things that you look for. And that's winning games in different ways, in different styles. But it's, again, that next man up mentality, because the reality is during the course of a football season, Brother Duke, you're going to get injured.
Yeah.
It's not if, it's when. You are going to face injuries. In the deeper teams and the selfless teams where there's no ego and it's just total next man up, it's all about team above I. And that's what this Double E preaches in that room.
Yeah.
You see them have the success on the field. And that's why Edmonton is where they're at, man.
And I think that exact same sentiment can be applied to the other side of the ball too, on offense, where you talk about like Justin Rankin, the early offensive explosion this season. There's been no pouting. There's been no downturn in attitude or anything about his slow and progress. Like, man, we're winning games. I'm going to do whatever I can to help them win that, whether that's in pass pro, whether that's as a receiver, which we obviously saw come back to the forefront last week, or when I do get my touches, even if nothing's happening, he's not complaining. He's not yelling at his O lineman when he's letting blocks through. He's doing his job to the best of his ability, down to down. And then, like, I've been just so impressed with this receiver group, which came in pretty unheralded after Austin Mack, right? And Cephas, O'Leary Orange, TJ Luther, they've all had their moments of really stepping to the forefront. And like last week, there were 7 guys that had 4 receptions or more, really spreading the ball around, which is part of what makes them dynamic. So I'll finish with this, Eddie, on defense, because it's going to be a tough test, particularly up front. One player, give me one guy that needs to really have a standout game, in your opinion, to make this a successful night for the Double E.
Really good question. The low-hanging fruit, I'm going to say, is a player, Nick Anderson. Just because he's going to be, it's Nick against Brady, right? Yeah. That's the matchup. And Nick is going to have to establish himself with the physical presence to get his defensive linemen off double teams. And what I mean by that is the O-line is going to try and double team a guy like Jared Brinkman up to Nick Anderson. It's going to be up to Nick Anderson to go and meet that sucker right at the line of scrimmage, get the double team off of Brinkman, and have all gaps covered so Brady Olivieri has nowhere to go. When offensive linemen can double team the D lineman and move them back a couple of yards into the linebacker's lap, well, that creates different seams where the running back can kind of poke his head through the holes. If Nick Anderson can go and get that double team off of his defensive tackle and have everybody in a unified line across the line of scrimmage, Brady's not going to have anywhere to run.
Text in Elks to 1-833-414-40. Try and snag one of our last couple pairs of tickets to tonight's game. And if not, man, hit the box office.
Please hit the box office.
Get down there. Beautiful night. I just checked the forecast, Eddie. 25 degrees at kickoff.
Per my forecast, it's going to be about 24 degrees come kickoff, dude. 24 degrees.
Eddie Weatherman.
You know what
Eddie.
I did? I stuck my thing, I licked it, and I stuck it up in the air. No, it's going to be a beautiful night,
I can
man.
tell it's going to be 25 because of how my
your knees,
my joints feel. My joints feel. Eddie.
Nonetheless, man, this is the PSA. Come on, get some butts down to Commonwealth. This team is 7-3. They are producing wins. What more do you want? And again, it's against a Western Division opponent. Winnipeg is a good football team, and whenever you get a chance to go and beat a team that has been the dynasty, the best team in the CFL over the past 6 years, it's a juicy opportunity just to establish yourselves and, again, build that momentum, baby, because this train is moving. Jump on.
You bet, Jim. We'll talk a little more about the game during In or Out, which is coming up. When we return to wrap up the 8 o'clock hour and Eddie's time with us this morning here on the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Watch us. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Kickoff is coming August 21st. Elks, Blue Bombers at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. It's Country Night presented by Innova. Dust off that Canadian tuxedo and bring the honky tonk to the field. Get your tickets at goelks.com/tickets.
The Chicken Parmy Burger, McExtreme Pulled Pork, Garlic and Black Pepper Chicken McNuggets, Cheesy Bacon McFlavor Fries, and the Stroop Waffle McFlurry. You've scrolled them. You've screenshotted them. You've never been able to order them until now. This is the McDonald's World Menu Heist. The most wanted menu items taken from around the world, now in Canada. Get them while you can. For a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Alberta, this one's for you. Around here, trust takes a few winters. It's why players have known Jackpot City since 1998. Home to hundreds of exciting casino games, live dealer action, and new adventures waiting to be discovered. Jackpot City, nothing beats the original. Please play responsibly, 18 years or older, Alberta only.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca.
It might have been scraped by the snowblower, dented while door crashing, or crunched at the company Christmas party. At some point over the winter, your car was damaged and it's been hiding under a coat of winter grime.
Then come and see Robertson Body Works. We can take care of the damage and the dirt. This week only, call and book a repair and get a complete auto detailing absolutely free.
But you have to book your appointment before the week is up. Go to Robertson.
The Tom Gazzola Show.
All gas, no brakes.
Edmonton's sports leader. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Welcome back into the Tom Gazzola Show here on Sports 1440. Playlist Friday has got me and Eddie cruising, vibing, ready to head into the weekend. The weather is looking nice. Eddie, great choice today.
I'm back. Welcome back, baby.
He's back. What is that track?
Mace, welcome back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. I thought the way you were moving to it, Duke, I thought for sure.
I just love moving to the music.
Yeah, it's called Welcome Back.
I love good music. I don't, it doesn't matter what genre it is. I don't discriminate.
You know, brothers back in the studio. Welcome back.
Welcome back indeed. Eddie Steele alongside Brandon Douglas sitting in one final morning for Tom Gazzola here on the show which bears his name. Donovan Paulson alongside Josh Flemmick and Connor Spivak, the young intern, in with us as well. Let's get to In or Out, brought to you by the Oilers Nation Golf Tournament. There are 5 foursomes left. Make a team and register to play on Friday, August 28th at Millwoods. Loads of prizes, competitions, and fun, all in support of Gregor's grads. Sign up at nationexperiences.ca.
Okay, you know what? Moving too fast. Bottom line, are you in or you out?
In or out of what?
No time for questions, just action. In or out?
Well, then I'm out.
I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
Are you in or are you out?
On Sports 1440.
I thought you would go, I'm in, Bob. We would have had a really cool moment, but you kind of ruined the whole thing.
Eddie getting some love on the text line here for your pick. Triple C in his truck says, okay, Mace.
Yeah, baby.
Bench $MA$E. Wow, what a pull from Bench. So it's getting a little bit of love. You can get it on the mix as well as it's Playlist Friday here on the Gazzola Show. Song that sends you into the weekend in a good mood, a little walk-up tune. Still a few openings over the course of the rest of the show, I do believe. But let's open it up for our young friend Donnie P for In or Out.
First off, Justin Rankin. I'm thinking he's going to finally get back over that 100-yard rushing mark.
I think this has been an In or Out topic about 4 times over the past 5 Elks games, and unfortunately, I have to be in again.
First you don't succeed, try again.
And to be honest, if I'm using my head, the answer is out, because we know how good the defensive front for the Bombers is. And once again, like, teams are making it a priority to try and slow him down and shut him down. And all of our qualms about some of the creativity in the run game play calling by Coach Max Simic, it doesn't seem to have changed anything, right? And you don't want your coaches making changes based on what the fans and the media say, but the results kind of say that there should be a little bit of a change as well, and we haven't really seen that yet. I'm still going to be in, though, because I want to see it. It's like, he's just so exciting. And I said this earlier in this week, Eddie. Just because Justin Rankin has the ability to break tackles and make things happen up the middle doesn't mean that should be your only play call for him.
No, absolutely. I would agree with that. I'm going to be in. I do think Rank will have a big game tonight. I think there will be some big plays. Yes, he'll have his consistent 4 or 5 yard carries, but I do think he'll bust some big runs today, some 20, 30 yarders. That will be my prediction. Winnipeg has a solid front, but they are vulnerable in the run game. So I'm excited to see this rushing attack led by Justin Rankin go off tonight.
It's just been too many weeks, right? Like, he's too good of a player to not go that long, or to go that long between 100-yard games.
But even, you go back, and this is the team above I, right? You go back to last week, Rank doesn't care, and then he's having a slow game, and all of a sudden he gets hit down the seam for that huge pass, because he can cut you up in the pass game too. But I expect him to have a big game on the ground.
Second off the agenda here today, the biggest reason the Jays have started to claw their way back out of this hole is they have found their spunk again.
Donovan, there are so many words you could have used here
that
are complete and pure synonyms in the context you're using this. Now, unfortunately, spunk as a, what would this be called? A homonym? Or no, because that's a word that sounds the same, different meaning. That is no.
Noun? I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Spunk as a word can mean other things, and you could have used mojo. You could have used a variety of different topics. But to the question itself, even with my disagreement with your phrasing of it, I'm in on this as well, because this is like, when they were at their best last year, what were we talking about? This is a team that looks like they're having fun. That looks like they enjoy coming to the ballpark every day. And the offense has started to come around, right? The series against the Rays, they had double-digit hits, I think, in all 3 outings. So it's clearly a step in the right direction. Big test this weekend in the Bronx against the Yankees. Schlittler's going to go today. He was just okay last time out against Toronto, but I believe Carlos Rodon's going to be back in for one of these starts as well. And Mason Fluharty starting a bullpen day for Toronto, which is never an ideal situation when you're talking about the firepower that New York can present, even with their injuries up and down the lineup. So I'm in, because you have to think that it's just playing a big part, and to your point, probably the biggest part why they're getting back around.
Yeah, momentum. Winning is contagious, right? So you start to feel that. You pop the pressure of the lid. You start getting some dubs, winning some series against some formidable opponents as well. And the confidence starts to come. And then once you have that confidence, again, the winning, it just starts to become contagious, much like what we're seeing here in Edmonton with the football team.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, the spunk, but the confidence has come along. This whole season, they've been in a rut, right? It's kind of like the Oilers when they're coming off of Stanley Cup runs. The following regular seasons, typically, if we look at history, hadn't been that strong, right? It's kind of what's going on, lots of lulls. But then towards crunch time, end of season, they find their game and might go on a little run. And I feel like that's what the Jays are doing. I'm going to just ask you this, Donnie, our resident baseball boy. You think they make it?
I don't. I don't.
Half a game out?
They are only half a game.
What? No, I thought
Did
it
it go back to a half? Maybe sorry, my page hadn't refreshed from yesterday. Thanks.
So for whatever reason, I feel like this is very similar. If you remember back to like the Buffalo Sabres or the Ottawa Senators before they became the teams that we saw like last season or for the Sens like a couple of years, we always saw the talent on their rosters and we always saw the way they ended seasons and always saw, but they ended the season so well that surely they'll start off and they'll finally make the playoffs and break through. This just feels very like the pressure's no longer on them. So I kind of feel like it's a little bit of a smoke screen, a smoke and mirrors type thing. But like there is definitely there's a huge chance that they make it, and everybody's let them back in. But they have found their games again. They've found their mojo. They found what makes them special.
So
as
now
a team.
you use mojo.
I don't care, but it's the same.
Say it, Donovan. They found their spunk.
They found their spunk. I don't care. Like that's what they've done. They've found it again. They found what makes them special, which is like their attitude as a team, how they play, when they're going. Nobody else in baseball can do it. So I don't believe that there's enough talent in this lineup right now as currently constructed to make the playoffs, but I could very much be proven wrong based on just, like I said, they've found it again.
So they're not out of spunk.
No.
If we were on British radio, we would have been pulled off the air by now for how many times we said the word spunk in the past 10 minutes. Unbelievable.
They're still flowing along. Off to number 3. CJ Stroud, once again, gonna have an underwhelming year this year.
Go ahead, football boy.
Because Donnie can't even get the question out. Yeah, I'm in. I'm not a CJ Stroud guy. Like I understand the success that he had. But to me, I just don't see him in. I know I'm talking to you, Duke. He's your baby boy here. But I just don't see him as, that upper echelon type of a quarterback. He's a quarterback that is certainly capable of stacking dubs, but I don't see him as that leader, that dude. I don't know, Duke. Where you at with him, man?
The reality is this team does not need him to be a top 5 quarterback.
The team doesn't, but where you at with him? Where you at with him?
I am where at he is perfectly capable of being the guy for this team in its current iteration. Now, the injury to Jaden Higgins is actually pretty substantial because they're not very deep at receiver, right? They have other second-year man, Jalen Noel, another Iowa guy, Xavier Hutchinson. He might have to step up and play some more. We saw the guy, Wayne, who's got a few more reps during preseason here. And then can Tank Dell come back? And when he does come back, does he look like do not forget, him and CJ Stroud had excellent chemistry.
They did.
And you still have a guy who is a top 5 to 10 receiver in Nico Collins. So when you pair that and David Montgomery's improvement of the run game, Woody Marks in one drive looked great last night. I actually liked his rookie season quite a bit last year, pressed into duty. All that's fine, and it just has to plod along. This defense has a chance on paper, it's always on paper, to be one of the best we've seen in recent memory. Like, look, it was the number 1 defense in the league last year. It's going to be better this year. When you talk about bringing in Blankenship in the secondary, they bring back Jadeveon Clowney, a little bit of a legacy thing, but some extra depth, at least for their defensive front. Yep. And then they use one of their top picks on a guy who is one of the best D tackles in the draft out of Ohio State and Caden McDonald. So I just think, like, to the question exactly, does CJ Stroud was it underwhelm?
Underwhelm.
Well, I think the expectations for him are so low now that I'm out, because if people now expect him to be a average quarterback, if he is just slightly above average, then
Is he a top 15 quarterback in your opinion?
I think that'd be tough to justify after. Like, keep in mind, last year regular season he was fine. He was very average. It's just the 2 playoff games and the turnovers that existed within them. That is the memory that lingers in our mind, because we have such elephant brains as sports fans that was like, look at how bad he was in those playoff games. They need to move on. They need to find a new guy.
Well, no.
This is a guy that has 3 playoff wins in his first 3 seasons.
Not move on, but we do have elephant brains because that's what the reality of sports is. What have you done for me lately?
How did he play in the previous year's playoff games? Do you remember?
No, because last year was last year. Last year was the most important year.
So you're telling me that just because the Elks missed the playoffs last year, and they still had Justin Rankin, they still had Cody Fajardo, doesn't mean that they're not going to be any good this year in the playoffs?
Oh, totally different scenario.
I'm like, you can't, like, recency bias can be a factor, but it can't be everything. And as a result, there is enough tape on C.J. Stroud. Is he going to be as good as he was his rookie year? No, took the world by storm. But is he somewhere between that and the guy we saw last year, even in the regular season, where it's very middle of the road average? I believe that to be true. Like, this is a high pedigree guy, college player, all these things, and has had a lot of success in the NFL. He's not a top 5 quarterback. He's probably not a top 10 quarterback. But if you can find that soft spot between top 10 to top 15, top half of the league, this is a team that can absolutely win the Super Bowl this season.
If he is in the top 15, they can win the Super Bowl. I'd agree. But if he's, like I think he's going to be again, underwhelming, and under that bottom 15, then they're going to be in top.
How about this one from MTR? Give us Al Shire back, and you can have Brandon Ayuk. I'm not going to lie. When the Higgins news came across, I'm just like, should the Texans check in on Brandon Ayuk?
Head case.
Hey, you know what? There's a lot more to check in on than there was in recent years. There's a lot of meat on those bones now.
A lot to check in on. That's all right. Doctor check in.
Number 4 here, fellas. Back to the Texans, because we're going out there today, and this is your before your vacation day. So I figured I'd throw you a few bones here. The Texans will win their division. They will go back and win the division after taking a year off here last year.
Go ahead, dude.
The Jays got a ton of spunk. Donovan's giving his bone to everybody. It is Mail-In Friday, despite our best efforts this morning.
Show is sure flowing.
I'm in. I think Jacksonville is a good team, but I kind of still have some questions. Offensively, can Trevor Lawrence? He was much better last year under Liam Cohen. Defensively, I think they're solid. But once it's just kind of what we talked about. Like, the Texans are Super Bowl contenders as long as the offense can be mediocre. I think they win this division. I think they probably do it by at least a couple games.
I am going to go out, man. I think Jacksonville again. I think they run it back. Jacksonville has a lot of weapons on that team. Good defense, but the offensive weaponry that they have, and I like Liam Cohen. Like
I do too.
I really like D'Amico. Sorry, Ryans. I really like him as a coach too.
And then opposite ends, right? Because obviously Ryan's the defensive specialist and former player and all those things, and then you got Cohen, the offensive guru, upstart guy that was an OC for 1 year in Tampa Bay, I think, right? Because he took over for Canales when he got the Panthers job. 1 year OC, and then all of a sudden finds himself a head coach and a very good first year in that position too. So he's clearly got something with Trevor Lawrence. But you talk about offensively, man, they move on from Travis Etienne, who's now in New Orleans. Like, Byshel Tutin's second-year guy is going to be touting a big load for them. And at receiver, Brian Thomas Jr., talk about a great rookie season. What has he done for me lately? A terrible year last year. And then Jacoby Myers, he's nothing impressive, but he's rock solid at probably your WR1. How many puns can we work in here, Donovan?
Touting a big load.
Touting a big load, rock solid, hard as a rock.
It's just turned into.
Now you're just looking for them.
That's what's hard not to at this point, because we've gone through almost all of them available.
Catch your breath.
Nail just texted. At least they're not playing cornhole. There you go.
There we go.
Anywho,
yes.
To get things back on the rails. Number 5, on this day in 2009, Quentin Tarantino came out with Inglourious Bastards. And to me, of all the Tarantino movie performances, Christoph Waltz's as Colonel Hans Landa is the best performance.
This is a really good question, Donovan, because obviously Tarantino, an iconic director, and he's had so many iconic films with, like, ensemble casts in them, right? Which is, I think, an important thing to consider here. Eddie, I'm going to let you lead though on your actual.
Yeah. I'm going to be out. Really, there's two options, right?
You think so? I think there's a ton of.
I think there's two main options when we're talking about this actor and his roles with Tarantino movies. I'm Dr. King Schultz, Django.
Okay,
the dentist.
So, but because the question is of any role in any Tarantino movie, not just
Christoph Waltz. Just any Tarantino movie.
Oh, I didn't read that.
Anybody
All the
in
roles.
Pulp Fiction, anybody in
Yeah.
There's several choices in Django.
For sure. I misread that. I misread the question.
But you know what's crazy? I'm out, and that is my pick.
Is that your pick?
Yeah. I think his role, like Christoph Waltz in Django.
Yeah, that was as the dentist.
Yeah.
That was, man.
He is awesome as the dentist, but like his performance when he's switching between languages and just like his almost giddiness when he's like doing some of the diabolical stuff that he's doing, his performance is, I mean, that legitimately, like that launched Christoph Waltz into what he is now, which is an absolute juggernaut. So,
but I like him as a good guy. He's a good guy when he's the dentist.
I love him in both roles. He's one of those guys who I can see, taking it both ways.
Donovan, enough. We're done. The segment's over.
Well done.
Okay?
Well done, Donnie.
I think that like even inside Django, I think Jamie Foxx inside Django, he is Django. It's the man inside himself. Is awesome. And to be honest, once go down the list in just that movie, like Sam Jackson is awesome. Leo as the bad guy, which we don't get to see that often, right? Leo as the bad guy, I think is great. And then across Pulp Fiction, take your choice. I think the Gimp was really good in Pulp Fiction. So, but no, my pick is Christoph Waltz in Django Unchained.
And the D is silent.
The D is silent, but not invisible. Excellent addition, Donovan. This is insane. Why this show has gone the way it has, I'm really not too sure, but it's Friday and I'm not here next week, so Tom can answer all the questions for it come Monday morning with Eddie Steele. Eddie, have a great weekend, man. Anything else cooking outside of the football game tonight?
No, it's just going to be a beautiful weather weekend if you check the temps, man. So just going to get outside. We haven't had a ton of this beautiful weather. Yes.
Check the temps. Lick that finger.
The finger in the air.
Be careful.
The breeze is coming in at 20 knots northwest. So I'll see you down at Commonwealth tonight, everybody. It's going to be a beautiful one. Get your tickets.
Show up.
Please
and
show
out.
Please. This team needs you to be loud. Winnipeg is a good team. I have a lot of respect for them.
Make life difficult when they're out there.
You need to. You need to, because Edmonton, buckle up. You're in for a good one.
Have an excellent weekend, Eddie. Have an excellent weekend, and I'll see you in a week.
I'll see you tonight at the game. Find me. I'll buy you a beer.
No, you won't.
Nope.
You'll buy me one of Army Darrell's free warm cab temperature pilsners at the tailgate.
Yeah, Duke, let me get you something.
If we go find Army Darrell out there. Awesome. Eddie Steele, the former CFLer, Grey Cup champion in 2015, all-decade team, Vanier Cup champion, and North Winnipeg Nomad. I got it all on lock. Eddie, I don't know if you knew this, but we kind of went through Schlemmer's intro. I dove into a little bit more. I think he might be more accomplished than you overall, but he's missing the ultimate prize. Like, you achieved the top level in your pro sport.
Yeah.
Schlemmer obviously never won a Stanley Cup, but WHL champion, Brick Tournament alumni, Quick Card Minor Hockey Week champion, Central League champion.
Oh, he got hardware.
He's got
hardware.
I don't know how many rings he has.
I was going to say he got the
but
hardware, but I got the rings.
He's got the banners. You got.
You know what they say? The ring is the thing.
Do they say that? They do now.
Winners win, baby.
They do now. When we come back, we'll play catch up on the clock a little bit, check in with the fellows across the board here, and talk a little Blue Jays baseball here in the 9 o'clock hour, as well as they head into a weekend set at the Bronx against the New York Yankees. 9:20, Jonathan Alexander from the Houston Chronicle will be about to tee up the Texans season inside that AFC South division. Before that, a Sports 1440 update, and it's brought to you by Fusion Promo Marketing. Expand your brand. High-quality promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Get noticed at fusionpromomarketing.ca. That's Fusion with a Z. Here is Donovan Paulson.
The Sports 1440 update.
MLB action from last night. The Jays took down the Rays 5-1, winning a series of the Trop for the first time in nearly 3 full seasons. The Cardinals hung on to win 10-9 in a shootout against the Reds. The Guardians beat the Giants 5-2. The Orioles falling 6-1 to the Yankees. The Rangers blanked the Nats 2-0 as Jacob deGrom became the second fastest pitcher to record 2,000 career strikeouts in MLB history. NBA news, the Cavs, they have re-signed James Harden on a 3-year, $97 million ticket. Coming up in about just under 15 minutes, we've got Jonathan Alexander to talk some more Houston Texans. I'm Donovan Paulson. That is your Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Tee up for a great day on the course and support the Stony Plain Eagles Senior Men's Hockey Club. It's the Stony Plain Eagles Golf Tournament. Gather your foursome and join the Eagles August 25th at the Links at Spruce Grove for a 2 p.m. shotgun start. Enjoy a fantastic afternoon of golf, great company, and friendly competition, all while supporting the Stony Plain Eagles. Get all the details and register today at stonyplaineagles.com.
Are you a skilled laborer? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All-Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All-Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience searching for work, search All-Star Construction on Indeed.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
I finished a 5K in 94th place, right after a man wearing jeans. Then a volunteer gave me a medal. But I don't want participation trophies, unless they're from Bet365. With their daily prize matcher game, I win by matching gold coins, cherries, and more. Take that, Denim Man. Thanks, Bet365.
Must be 18 or older. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply. T's and C's apply.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Recently, our company softball team lost a big game by 1 run. Then Dale tried to console us with the quote, "Winning isn't everything." Well, Dale and I are very different. I get early payout from Bet365. If my team goes up big, I get paid out instantly, even if they blow the lead later. Sound familiar, Dale? Thanks, Bet365.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. 18 plus.
The Tom Gazzola Show with guest host Brandon Douglas
On Edmonton's sports leader.
Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Well into the 9 o'clock hour. Welcome back to the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas sitting in for Tommy G this week. One final morning in the big chair, and then Tom will be back, but I will not be, as I'm set to take a little time off, enjoy a little trip to Toronto with some friends, taking some Jays games where hopefully their mojo continues to be at the forefront of their efforts and can continue to hunt down a playoff position. Donovan Paulson on the ones and twos, Connor Spivak, young Connor, the intern, and Josh Fenwick keeping us on track online with our video feeds as digital producers, where you can watch us YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitch, and of course, listening options plentiful as well. iHeartRadio, the TuneIn app, Radio Player Canada, our own website, sports1440.ca, and then my favorite, in the pickup, cruising around the AM radio dial. The text line 1-833-414-1440 is jumping after our in or out segment. Some of them, I think, are warning us about sending flags to the CCRT and getting us pulled off the air for some of our comments. But Blake says, Duke, Kevin taught you well keeping Eddie past 9 o'clock. Well, it's not as fun to keep Eddie late when he doesn't have somewhere to be. They'll be recording their latest edition of Elks Nation tomorrow as their post-game show. And then back, of course, Monday morning with their Elks Central, Elks 101. I still haven't quite figured it out. But either way, 2 episodes every week for Eddie and Deck at Elks Nation. Bench segment was great. Nails is asking if Carius is going to be at the tailgate this afternoon pouring Dickeritas. I doubt it, if I'm being honest. Kevin will probably be watching from the comfort of his couch with Dickerita in hand. And if you are unaware, that's Kevin's take on the margarita, where he just uses Crystal Light to mix in with the tequila and whatnot.
I think you might have been asking if Carius was pouring us Dickeritas in studio after that segment.
Oh, if that's the case, well,
that might have been what he was asking, because he did say quite a segment.
Yeah, that was
with
quite
multiple ha-ha-has.
That was quite a segment. Jason, spending time chatting Texans football, riveting. Well, Jason, sorry to let you down, buddy. We're doing NFL previews. That's where we're going today. Tough. Sorry to disappoint. Cat Dad has a comment I'm not going to read on the air. And how about Jana, longtime happy listener, going back to Eddie's pick for Playlist Friday. You can get your song request in to our text line 1-833-414-1440. She says that song was Welcome Back by Mace. It's a remix of the Welcome Back Cotter theme song, a 70s TV show that Kevin would have known. Well, I know Kevin knows it. Excuse me. We talked about it on air once. I can't remember under what context, but I definitely remember Kevin talking about Welcome Back Cotter in one of his delirious soliloquies about days of yesteryear and TV shows that no one has ever even heard of before if they were born after the year 1990, which includes myself. Not saying that doesn't mean they weren't good, but just completely off my radar. Like the same one, the radio show, like the CFR in Cincinnati or something, when he talks about Sean Smith, our in-house salesman that wears the jackets that look like Herb Tarlick. My only reference point there is searching Herb Tarlick on Google and seeing the jackets he wears. It's a good comparison by Carius. There's no doubt. There is no doubt. Text line continuing to fall into our inbox here. This one from Delta Valley Jeff Brandon. What pony you got for the Canadian Derby tomorrow? Well, DVJ, I don't know, to answer your question, but I do believe Frank Fontana is going to make his biannual appearance on the Frenzy today. Usually comes onto the starter race season to tee some things up and talk Kentucky Derby, but the Canadian Derby going tomorrow from the racetrack down by the airport. And I wish I was going. A stag that I'm a part of is going to these races tomorrow, but I unfortunately have another wedding I have to go to. So I should probably drop a line to the buddies in the group chat saying if you guys want some little insider information before you head to the track and some good tips from our buddy Frank Fontana, be sure to listen to the Frenzy today at 11 o'clock. Randall, been out of town working for a couple months, and this was the show I come back to. Priceless. Thanks for the laughs, boys. P.S. Are some people actually threatening CRTC complaints? Wow. No, Randall, that is a joke on my end where, honestly, at this point, out of guilt, I might have to submit our own show to the CTRC and be like, don't let us back on the air again. At least in this specific combination of people, myself, Donovan, Eddie, Josh, and Connor the intern. And MTR also with a message that I'm not going to read because it's inappropriate. Not in its sentiment, but certainly in the way that it is worded. We're going to talk some Blue Jays baseball coming up at 9:40, where we can dive into their win over the Rays yesterday, this resurgence of the Bats, at least in a capacity that they're able to win baseball games. Great outing by Shane Bieber as well. And then we'll kind of look ahead to this weekend set against the Yankees, which starts tonight. Cam Schlittler on the hill for New York, and Mason Fluharty going to open up a bullpen day for Toronto. And we'll also hear from Cam Tate and Cam and Eggs in that 9:40 segment as well. But in the meantime, we're going to step aside and come back to Jonathan Alexander, much to our listener Jason's chagrin. More Texans football talk as we tee up their season in the NFL. Are they legitimate Super Bowl contenders with that defense? Can the offense be good enough? Well, we'll dive into that and plenty more with Jonathan Alexander from the Houston Chronicle. It's the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440, brought to you by Bet365. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply. We're right after the break. You can watch the show. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
The Chicken Parmy Burger, McExtreme pulled pork, garlic and black pepper chicken McNuggets, cheesy bacon McFlavor fries, and the Stroop Waffle McFlurry. You've scrolled them. You've screenshotted them. You've never been able to order them until now. This is the McDonald's World Menu Heist. The most wanted menu items taken from around the world, now in Canada. Get them while you can. For a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Guys, there never seems to be enough time in the day, but you need to make time for this. Ken Franchek here. If you're 40 or over, a quick PSA blood test is crucial for early prostate cancer detection. The Prostate Cancer Center's Man Van is a mobile health clinic driving change for men's health. A few minutes could save your life. To get the Man Van out to your business or event, book today at getcheck.ca.
Don't miss a moment of Blue Jays baseball this season. Join play-by-play announcer Ben Shulman for the games live on Sports 1440. The Toronto Blue Jays are on Edmonton's home for all things sports. Sports 1440.
At GS Construction, we won't quit until we find a way to get the job done. And the right person makes all the difference. We're looking for our next superintendent, an experienced leader ready to take on the role. Because while GS Construction is building the water, sewage, and drainage systems Edmonton communities rely on, the superintendent is building up the team. If you know how to keep a job site safe, productive, and moving, we want to hear from you. Visit gsconstruction.ca/careers today.
Ford employee pricing is on now, and you pay what we pay on virtually our entire lineup of Ford vehicles. Visit your Alberta Ford store today.
Recently, our company softball team lost a big game by 1 run. Then Dale tried to console us with the quote, "Winning isn't everything." Well, Dale and I are very different. I get early payout from Bet365. If my team goes up big, I get paid out instantly, even if they blow the lead later. Sound familiar, Dale? Thanks, Bet365.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Heavy Truck Auction is next Thursday at 9 a.m. Featuring triaxle, tandem, single-axle trucks, including cab and chassis, decks, diggers, dumps, pickers, tractors, vacs, and service trucks. Info at maauctions.com.
First pitches, kickoffs, tip-offs. When the game is on, you call the shots. Whether it's a parlay after working all day or a straight bet and straight to bed, Betway has what it takes for you to bet the Edmonton way. So when it's your turn to play, play the Edmonton way with Betway. Play responsibly. Alberta only. 18 plus.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply.
The Tom Gazzola Show. All
All gas, no brakes. Edmonton's sports leader. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Welcome back, 9:20 in Edmonton. It's the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas sitting in for Tom this week. Happy Friday to you. I hope you're having a great kickstart to your weekend and lots of great plans. Weather is looking beautiful here in the capital region. So if you're going down to the Royal Mayfair to take in the CPKC Women's Open Golf, Brooke Henderson in the mix, Anna Huang, T4 going into round number 2. So some Canadians certainly in the mix. Or Elks football tonight at Commonwealth taking on the Blue Bombers. 7:30 kickoff, 25 degrees. The forecasted temperature when things get underway down at Commonwealth. Let's talk some NFL football with Jonathan Alexander from the Houston Chronicle, covers the Texans down in Houston. Jonathan, good morning. Thanks for taking the time with us today. Appreciate you hopping on.
Of course. Good morning. How are y'all doing?
No, we're doing excellent. Looking forward to the weekend here with some CFL football continue to roll along and NFL football right around the corner, Jonathan. So the Texans preseason game week number 2 last night. We did see some starters offensively for this team, including C.J. Stroud for the one series, Woody Marks, an impressive outing down the field, including capped with the touchdown. And I want to start there with you about this offense and a few things to touch on around it, Jonathan. Is that really the kind of general sentiment I'm getting from this team looking in is, can the offense be good enough to support this defense on route to, back atop the AFC South division, getting past that divisional round inside the AFC playoff picture, and maybe even, punch a ticket through to the Super Bowl this year? And so I guess my question is, to open things up, how good does the offense have to be to complement what this defense is expected to perform at on a week-to-week basis?
I mean, they have to be above average.
Okay.
If you look at all the Super Bowl teams that we've seen, those that have won the Super Bowl, they've had top 15 offenses. So the Texans have to be that. And, that's not to say that they can't be that. They were around 19th last year. And that obviously wasn't good enough to advance to a Super Bowl this year. So they have to be, I don't want to say tremendously better, but they have to be a lot better than what they were. And they've done that, putting, trying to improve the offensive line, trying to get more receiving options back, trying to add a running game, which is probably most important. So they have a chance to do that.
And so obviously at the center, that is the quarterback position, as it always is in the game of football. And C.J. Stroud, the unbelievable rookie season, a solid sophomore campaign, but then another step backwards in a lot of regards in year number 3. And then the turnovers in the playoffs, and far from his best performance in those games, even in a winning effort over the Steelers. So coming into camp this year, there seems to be a lot of talk from the coaching staff that he seems refocused, re-energized. What have you seen from him in camp? And are there encouraging signs that he can get back closer to the level we saw him play at as a rookie in the league?
I mean, I would disagree slightly. I don't think C.J. Stroud took a step back in his third year. I think he took a step forward. I think the playoff game was horrendous, of course.
Yeah.
And the one against the Patriots, I think there were also a lot of factors involved. Nico Collins was out, his best receiver. Dalton Schultz was out. His second best receiving option was out after the first quarter. They didn't have a running game all year. They were playing in certain elements. I think a lot of factors were involved, and I don't think that play was indicative of what we had saw from C.J. Stroud the entire season. Even if you look at the Steelers game, there were a lot of bad snaps. So can you totally fault C.J. Stroud for all of those? But obviously they want him to take a step forward. It wasn't great, especially to start the 2025 season. And I think he's shown that he really wasn't as phased as people made it out to be. He didn't lose confidence, and I think he'll have a good season as long as the pieces around him stay healthy.
Talking Houston Texans with Jonathan Alexander from the Houston Chronicle. So those pieces around him, let's start on the offensive line, which once again underwent a little bit of a transformation this offseason. They used their first-round pick on Keelan Rutledge out of Georgia Tech. And through camp, right, from what I'd seen, they were using him a lot at center. But last night, they went for a little bit of a different configuration and moved him back to his natural guard spot. Was that just an experiment, or do you think that this could be a legitimate option for them when they open the season in a couple weeks?
Yeah, I mean, D'Amico Ryan said that he'll rotate different offensive line combinations. I don't think D'Amico Ryan does anything just to do things. So I don't think it was just an experiment. It's something that they've struggled with throughout OTAs, and I think they possibly wanted to see if that was the best combination, and that combination did do a good job. I think that more so speaks. So let's just start here. If D'Amico Ryans was confident in the previous offensive line iteration, as it was, with Wyatt Teller at left guard, with Keelan Rutledge at center, not saying Keelan Rutledge did a bad job because he was still in the starting offensive line group, but if he was confident in that previous offensive line iteration, then that offensive line iteration would have played.
Right.
D'Amico Ryans wants consistency. He's not going to just mix and match offensive line combinations just because. So I think that speaks to what Wyatt Teller has done, and obviously it hasn't been up to standard for D'Amico Ryans to change D'Amico Ryans and his offensive coordinator Nick Caley to change that offensive line.
And so then at the running back position, you mentioned bringing in David Montgomery to complement second-year man Woody Marks, who, as I kind of touched on, impressed in his one series of action last night. Is this going to be split duty, or do you think it really will be more Marks as a complement to what Montgomery can do, as one of their big offseason acquisitions to give them a little bit more power? He was the knuckles to Jahmyr Gibbs Sonic up in Detroit for the past couple of seasons. But Montgomery has experience as a bona fide RB1 too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be split duties. Like, you'll probably see David Montgomery start, and then, they'll give Woody Marks carries as well. I think the Texans historically have operated as a who has the hot hand type of, running game. And I think that they'll continue to do that. I don't think that, say, if Woody Marks is playing better than David Montgomery, they're going to run it with David Montgomery just because I think both of these guys have talent. Both of these guys have different skill sets. And the Texans will use both of their skill sets in the best way to help their offense.
And then, talking about the offensive line, the running back, those areas seem to be improved. But in the wide receiver group, obviously this injury to Jaden Higgins is a pretty devastating one. Torn ACL, expected, of course, to be out for the entirety of the season. Now, you still got top man Nico Collins, second-year guy Jalen Knoll will have to be asked to do a little bit more now in Higgins' absence. And after that, is it going to be a by-committee approach with Xavier Hutchinson, Justin Watson, the veteran, and maybe the reappearance of Tank Dell, coming back from that really gruesome leg injury? Or do you see them maybe looking outside to try and bring someone in to shore things up here a little bit inside the receiver room?
Yeah, at the very least, the Texans are going to add that. But I think all options are on the table. They're going to look through free agency and the trade market and see what's available and see if any of those make sense. But in the meantime, they'll assess their own wide receiver group. But they definitely have a need for depth. So I definitely see them at the very least adding somebody. Now, whether that person is a bona fide number two, whether that person is just a depth piece, I don't know the answer to that yet. But I do think that they'll add somebody somewhere.
And so to Tank Dell specifically, like I said, I mean, him and CJ Stroud had tremendous chemistry when they kind of busted in to the league together, but that injury was so terrible. He's been working hard to come back from it. What is the timeline on his potential return? We've seen him on the field at camp, but is it imminent or still, probably more once the season gets going after that point to see him back on game time field?
Yeah, I think it's still up in the air. Obviously we'll have to see Tank Dell have multiple practices back to back, and we haven't quite seen that yet. He's still been very limited, and I think that's by design. I think Tank Dell feels healthy or has wanted to get out there, but I think the Texans are making sure that he's okay so that he can last the entire season. But they have not given any indication of when exactly that'll be.
Talking all things Houston Texans with Jonathan Alexander from the Houston Chronicle here on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas sitting in on the Tom Gazzola show this morning. So a little bit more of the real fun conversation around this team, Jonathan, and that is on the defensive side of the ball. The best defense in the league last season and on paper seems to have only improved when you talk about drafting of K. McDonald, bringing in Reed Blankenship to further shore up the safety position in the secondary. And then, to be honest, even the kind of legacy signing of Jadeveon Clowney, who still has something to offer, certainly as a depth piece on the defensive front. So is it safe to say that expectations are through the roof for what this group can accomplish this season as a defensive unit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like after you finish number one and then you add further pieces to enhance Your defense, the expectations can only be extreme. And as you've seen them, they were on the cover of Sports Illustrated. They're getting a lot more national attention, and rightfully so. They were a great group, like a historical group. And a lot of their pieces, their main pieces, were young players who were either just entering their primes or approaching their primes. So, obviously, the biggest thing is remaining healthy. The Texans have to remain healthy at the right positions. They were very healthy last year up until the playoffs. So, the expectations are going to be through the roof. Now, depth is probably like one concern for me. Like, what happens if you do lose certain guys? Do you have enough? I think they lack depth in certain areas like edge rusher. But overall, they have among the best defensive talent in the league than any team.
And feel free to tell me I'm silly for even asking this, but like so much attention gets paid to the defensive front when you talk about Will Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter in particular, right? Two of the very best in the entire league from a talent perspective, as you mentioned. But this secondary is obviously no slouch. Derek Stingley Jr. gets a lot of credit, and rightfully so. But the likes of Kamari Lassiter, Kalen Bullock, they've really done their part to complement what Stingley does on the back end too. So is it fair to say that like it's not really that much of a stretch between how much better one, so like a front end or back end of this defense really is compared to the other?
No, because that's what makes the Texans defense elite. They not only do they have elite front, but they have an elite secondary as well.
Yeah.
It's almost pick your poison with Derek Stingley and Kamari Lassiter, because Kamari Lassiter makes plays too. He was top 5 in pass deflections, didn't give up a ton of yards. And he's one of their better tacklers, definitely their best tackler in the secondary. He's everything that they want in a player. So he definitely doesn't get the credit he deserves, and I think he's deserving of everything. And then you look at Jalen Petrie, who we don't mention. He's really the key to that defense because, he's their nickel corner, and teams can't expose the Texans when they're going their jumbo packages. Because not only can Jalen Petrie cover, but he plays like a linebacker in the running game. So, their secondary is just as elite as their front.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with you there. Jonathan Alexander from the Houston Chronicle, teeing up the Texans season with us here on Sports 1440. So, inside the division, right? The AFC South is year to year constantly gets pegged as one of the weaker, and like anything, it is of course cyclical. But the Texans' reign of championships did get interrupted last year by Jacksonville. Now the Colts, if they can stay healthy, certainly want to think that their first half of last season was the normal and not the aberration compared to what we saw after Daniel Jones went down to injury. And then even Tennessee in year 2 of Cam Ward will want to be improved, I would think. So how do you see this division shaking out? And is it another, kind of safe to say question that it is the Texans to lose to try and get back to the top of it?
Yeah, I think the Jaguars are going to be good. They have a tougher schedule than the Texans per se, but they're still going to be a good team. They're getting Travis Hunter back, who's going to potentially be a tremendous weapon for Trevor Lawrence. We saw Parker Washington break out for the Jags last year. Maybe Brian Thomas Jr. has a better season, so I think they're going to be a solid team. I think the Colts are going to be okay. I just wonder how they'll perform with Daniel Jones coming off that major injury. I don't think they're going to be competing with the Texans and the Jaguars. And then the Titans, of course, they should be much improved with all the additions they made, not only to their roster, but their coaching staff, and then playing such an easy schedule. I think it'll be a competitive division this year. But I do think that the top teams are the Texans and the Jaguars, and I think the Texans have a slight edge over the Jaguars.
And last one for you, Jonathan, as I circle back to the defense here, and second-round pick at the top end of the second round in Cade McDonald. What has been your impression of him in camp because of all the names that this defense already possesses? We just went over so many of them. Can you envision him having a substantial impact role, or is he just going to be an important part of that depth for the defense that, as you kind of pointed out, in certain areas is a little prone to injury and things like that?
Yeah, he'll have an impact role. The Texans are a team that likes to rotate its defensive linemen, and especially their defensive tackles, those big guys. And I would say that Cade McDonald is sitting as a number 3 defensive tackle right now. He came from Ohio State as one of the best run stoppers, if not the best run stopper in the country that year. So that was one area that the Texans were hoping to improve this season. And you get that with McDonald. Now, McDonald is coming on a little bit slower because this is an entirely new defense for him. Yeah. But he's showing that potential. Had that sack last night, really nice sack. He's had some good run stops as well. So they definitely hope that he'll be a big contributor on the defense.
And then I did lie. Apologies. One more final one, and we'll stick with another one of the additions to this defense, which is bringing back former #1 overall pick Jadeveon Clowney. How was that received down in Houston? And obviously at this stage of career, he's not a huge difference maker, but another player that I would expect is still expected to contribute, though, as some help on this powerful defense.
Yeah, it was widely celebrated because obviously Clowney was a former Texans #1 overall pick. And, I think the biggest thing, though, was that the Texans were really struggling with depth on the edge rusher before signing Clowney. They lost a ton of experience this offseason and didn't get it back.
Mm-hmm.
And now you get Clowney, who not only has a ton of experience, but also has the production to back it. He had 8.5 sacks last year for the Cowboys in just 13 games.
Mm-hmm.
And this is his first training camp in years. He usually likes to be picked up after training camp. And he admitted that being picked up that late has contributed to him having to play catch-up. And now he's had probably like 2 weeks of training camp under his belt. So he's way further along, knows the playbook a lot better. And so he feels like he can have a faster start. And he's looked good so far.
Awesome. Well, Jonathan, really appreciate your time. Enjoy the weekend here, taking in a little bit more preseason football across the NFL, and the regular season will be back before we know it. Should be an exciting season down in Houston covering the Texans. Thanks for your time this morning.
All right, thanks for having me.
Jonathan Alexander, Houston Chronicle, covering the Houston Texans. And MTR, of course, had to get his little jab in on the text line after Jonathan's comments about, C.J. Stroud's third year. And I kind of touched on this with Eddie earlier, right, Donovan? Like, in the regular season, purely statistically, it was a step backwards, right? Like,
yeah.
You
Big
look
time.
at it, he threw for just over 3,000 yards after 4,000 plus, 3,700 in year number 2. And, the touchdown number went down slightly again, but he did mitigate the turnovers, particularly in the second half of the season, right? He looked much more like the quarterback that the Texans expected him to be and certainly wanted him to be. Now, as we pointed out, that lingering thought of how he played in the last time we saw him against the Patriots is what keeps sticking in everyone's mind. That's not really the QB he is.
No, I just think he's not a terrible quarterback by any means. He is I see him as just a serviceable, fine quarterback who, if you have a really good system in terms of how you're particularly on the defensive side of the ball, you're going to be able to get away with him. But if you're a team that doesn't have a great defense, I think you're going to really struggle with him as your quarterback. And the Texans, they have the advantage of having one of the game's elite defenses, in my mind, the best defense in football. So I think that they'll be fine once again. I think they'll win the division. But will C.J. Stroud be good enough to do it for him? That's ultimately the only question I have about the Houston Texans this year. I like David Montgomery at the run game. I love Nico Collins. Listen, Tank Dell, you have no idea what you're going to get from him. You have no idea what you're going to get as the second receiver position because obviously Jaden Higgins goes down. But I like this team. I like almost every aspect. I just question, can CJ Stroud get it done? He's not terrible, but can he step it up from what he was even in the regular season? Because in the regular season, he wasn't good. He was fine.
It was kind of a tale of two years for Stroud. Like at the start of the season, he was like, oh boy, the Texans might be in trouble. Fast forward to the second half and them down the stretch where they made that mad dash to catch Jacksonville inside the AFC South. And he looked good. He did look good.
How do you view him versus Bryce Young now? That's my question.
I think the gap is closed, but the problem is the gap had opened up so large after each of their respective rookie seasons.
Of course, yeah.
That the fact that Bryce Young got the Panthers back into the playoffs, but inside the NFC South, which as much as even me, as a fan of a team that's in the AFC South, likes to poke fun at it, the NFC South is a joke by comparison. So credit to him. Guess what? You know what they didn't do that the Texans did? Win a playoff game. And Stroud has 3 playoff wins under his belt, 1 in each season. I really can't. And I understand the defense is very good, but that doesn't mean that you can roll out a bum out there and still win even wild card playoff games. Like he has been solid enough, and last year he just wasn't. And as Jonathan rightfully pointed out and accurately pointed out, there were a number of extenuating circumstances that led to it. That's not an excuse for Stroud. He was not good enough, full stop, and he needs to be better this year. So I have very high expectations. I think this is a team that can absolutely win the Super Bowl. And we're calling it if, CJ Stroud plays better than he did last year. Yeah, I think that's a fair contingency to throw on that statement.
What number does he have to hit for you?
Like what
to be a Super Bowl legit, like Super Bowl level team?
Like number what? Like this? He's the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yes.
I don't really think that matters because that changes year to year so drastically.
That's true, but like
if he's
the 12th best quarterback in the league this year,
that's
lock it in Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I think they can win the AFC.
How far can he fall for you? Like, could they theoretically win if he's the 17th best?
Maybe.
That defense can solve almost any problem.
It means if that's the case, it means that the run game has to be really good.
And David Montgomery, but their offensive line, is it good enough to support David Montgomery?
And I think if a big part of Stroud is his
the O-line
is how the O-line's going to play, because it's been a rotating cast of disappointment the past number of seasons, essentially in Stroud's entire career. So it's an interesting dynamic. We can move along from that. When we return, we'll talk some Blue Jays baseball. Also check back in on the CPKC Women's Open down at the Royal Mayfair, taking place. Round number 2 underway. We'll update the standings. And then at 10 o'clock, Gary Meyer is in studio, ready to talk golf from 10 to 11. Golfing with the G-Man, brought to you by the CCT. It's the Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas, Donovan Paulson, Josh Fenwick, and Connor the intern all in studio. It's brought to you by Bet365.
Yeah, it's me again. And if you're sidelined with a sports injury, you already know nothing's more frustrating than being told to just rest. At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we get athletes moving sooner with our zero-gravity treadmills. You can run, train, and rebuild strength with up to 80% less body weight, so your injury heals while your confidence comes roaring back. When your sports injury's yelling, whisper back. LeadingEdgePhysio.com, because life shouldn't hurt.
Through Saturday. Don't miss the VIP overstock sale at Wolf GMC Buick. They're seriously overstocked with over 400 pieces of inventory on clearance and ready to move. Explore the entire inventory right now. Click on the clearance tab at wolfgmcbuick.com. Plus, employee pricing continues, and during the VIP overstock sale, stop in for even more special incentives. Hurry, it ends Saturday at Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned. Over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
The Tom Gazzola Show. All gas, no brakes. Edmonton's sports leader. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
$9:45 in Edmonton. Welcome back to the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas in for Tommy G, one final day. He will be back Monday morning, and we'll do so alongside Eddie Steele, Donovan, and the rest of the gang to recap a busy weekend in sports, including the Elks in action tonight at Commonwealth Stadium, taking on the Blue Bombers. Big game for both teams. Can the Elks give themselves some more breathing room atop the West Division after the disappointing and surprising loss by the Riders last week at the hands of the Tiger Cats? It'll be big. And Saskatchewan plays BC Sunday afternoon this week. Man, there's a lot on the line. All three games that remain, like last night's blowout notwithstanding, we all kind of saw that coming. Credit for Ottawa making it surprisingly close through the first quarter of the game. But Winnipeg and Edmonton tonight, Hamilton and Toronto tomorrow afternoon. That's going to matter as they duke it out, behind Montreal for second spot in the East. And then Saskatchewan and BC on Sunday afternoon, which when you look at the standings currently, with the win, right? Like there's only 3 games separating last place to first place in the West Division. Calgary, of course, on the bye this week. And Edmonton will be so next week. Then we'll have the Labor Day Classic and the rematch between the Stamps and Elks. So it's a great stretch of games here for not just Edmonton, but the entirety of the CFL as we head into Labor Day long weekend. If you want to go to the game tonight, you can win some tickets via us here at Sports 1440. You text Elks, ELKS, 218-334-1440, and that will automatically enter you. That's all you got to do. We'll do the draws. Our great team down the road at the promo line. They will select some winners via randomization and send you a message with all the pertinent information necessary to claim your tickets. On the text line, we're still fielding a few requests for Playlist Friday. That last one was a request, Donovan?
It was, and Bald Brad was not a fan.
Bald Brad said, my goodness, what an annoying song. He said, hey, it's a request line. That's what's great about the Playlist Friday, Donovan. We don't judge.
Yep.
We can constructively criticize at times, and we do vet the songs after a couple experiences when I didn't vet them, and we played them, and there was inappropriate language, or the song was quite simply didn't fit the vibe for Playlist Friday. So we do vet them, but as long as it's like, just because it's not a song I would listen to send me into the weekend on a good mood, doesn't mean that's not the case for someone else. So I don't know who requested that song. I hope it accomplished what it set out to do as a walk-up track, as a pump-up track.
Hey, it's a cheery song.
It is a cheery song. There's no doubt about that. And a couple spots left. We're going to have Gary Meyer coming up at the top of the hour here for Golfing with the G-Man for the CCT Country Club Tour. We'll have his daily intro, weekly intro, I should say, and then a couple more spots. And then, hey, I didn't even get to pick my Bryan Adams song today, so I guess I get full unencumbered reign over the final track of the day.
You do. We got one more request line song lined up, and then I guess we got 2 more slots to fill. One of them goes to you. So if you want to hear your one track of the day, fire them on in because we got one more spot left.
One more spot left. Toronto Blue Jays yesterday afternoon win the rubber match over the Tampa Bay Rays. When we went over the numbers earlier this week, their lack of success against the Rays since the year 2000, and more lopsidedly, their success at Tropicana Field. And they win 2 of 3 over the Rays. Now, Tampa doesn't have a ton to play for right now. That is true, but they're not mailing it in. I mean, this is a baseball team. Like every game, you want to keep yourself hot. You want to keep yourself fresh. You don't want to slide into a cold streak because you never know how long those can last. And the playoffs really aren't that far away. We know the Rays are going to be in the playoffs, right? They sit first place in the American League. They're a 76-win team. 4 clear of the Yankees, 10 clear of the Chicago White Sox for that top spot in the American League, which, as we know, is so important come seeding, bye rounds through the wild card series, and et cetera. Now, for the Blue Jays on the flip side, what a win. 3 home runs, all solo shots. Kaz Okamoto looks like he's heating back up again. Nathan Lucas gets the bat going. And a great play by Nathan Lucas out in the field to go climbing the ladder on the wall to make that one catch at a pretty pivotal point, of the baseball game. And then Daz Cameron was the home run that he got in the 5th inning off of Ian Seymour, his first as a Blue Jay. That's a guy, when he comes to the plate, you say, that's a guy that can hit a home run. What a behemoth. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
I like Daz Cameron. And hey, listen, he's a bench player. I'm not, expecting that much more of him. Now, unfortunately, the Brett Bateman situation remains a little bit in limbo about what his status is going to be moving forward. Good news is that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. played his rehab assignment game in Dunedin, was it right, Donnie?
Yeah, I think it was in Dunedin.
Single A, and it didn't amount to much. Don't get me wrong, but he went. Was it 2 for 2 with a double? All of a sudden, I've lost it. But it was a good outing for him in very brief outing.
Maybe that sparks him. Never know.
Doubles, walks twice in single A rehab appearance. That was the line there for Guerrero Jr. It's funny. It's like, are we living in a cartoon world where if Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just gets a little knock on the head, nothing too serious, but like Scooby-Doo-ish, and all of a sudden he comes back and looks more like the player we expect him to be and know he can be for this Jays lineup? What a boon that would be. I'm just not holding my breath.
I'm not either.
On that point, because it's different for a cold streak that you need one thing to bust you out of it, right? It's a totally different conversation we're talking about. It's the whole here. He has not hit a home run on home field. I hope I get to see it next week. Place is going to go bananas. He is expected to return to the lineup tomorrow for the Jays as they play 3 in the Bronx over the weekend against the Yankees. Donovan, Mason Fluharty, Cam Schlittler starting today. Bullpen day for the Jays. Their pen is a little more rested after a good outing by Bieber yesterday. Obviously, the Scherzer situation the day prior wasn't great. But the pen with the off day to start the week, another off day coming up on Monday, is certainly in better shape than it was a week ago. Yes?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's their pen, and also with a couple of their additions, right? They've kind of been able to lessen the load on some of these guys. Even if you look at a guy like Paul Sewald, who they claim on waivers, right? As much as you look at Paul Sewald and go, this guy's been terrible this year, that just kind of lessens the load. Or a guy like Matt Waldron, who is awful and was awful for the Jays, he gives guys a little extra breather. The more guys you've been able to rotate in, especially with some of these like blowout games that they've been a part of, just means the lesser load on some of these more important guys like Fluharty and Braden Fisher. Those two guys in particular have been way overused this year. So, and the Jays' record in bullpen games is excellent.
It's surprisingly good.
Like as it currently constitutes, they're 9-3 over the last 12 bullpen days, and they have an ERA in those games of 2.75. Which, think of it this way: if you were to go out there, that's basically like Dylan Cease starts your games.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense, but that's what's happened this year.
The results are
the results speak for themselves. They've when these guys need to step up in these bullpen games, for the most part, they have. So, I have almost all the faith in the world in some of these bullpen arms, especially. Like, man, anytime Louis Varland goes out there, Tyler Rogers, those two in particular have always got it done seemingly this year. It's just Ken, Fluharty, Fisher, these guys who've put in way too much effort, can they just ease their way through the rest of the season? That's what it needs to happen, because those two guys, man, have they seen way too many appearances. No reason those two should be tops in the league in terms of appearances.
Before we get to Gary Meyer and our Golfing with the G-Man Hour here to round out the week, we have today's edition of Cam and Eggs from our friend Cam Tate, who continues to feverishly watch the CPKC Women's Open from the comfort of his home. I think he's got a private hookup for the feed to make sure he's keeping tabs on everything. And we're going to talk plenty about that tournament with Gary Meyer here when we come back at the top of the hour. But on Fridays, it's a live read of Cam's words, and since I'm in the big chair, I get the pleasure of doing so. Folks, look at me. No, seriously, look at me. Do I look like a guy who knows anything about high-end country club lawn care? Don't answer that. The CPKC Women's Open is hitting the Royal Mayfair this week. We've got the greatest golfers on the planet in Edmonton, millions watching on television, and corporate sponsors giving away things regular people can't even pronounce. Everybody's talking about the pros. Oh, Cam, did you see your 300-yard drive? Did you see that 40-foot putt? Forget the golfers. I want to talk about the real heroes out there, the Mayfair grounds crew. These folks are reporting for work at 4:15 in the morning. 4:15! At 4:15 a.m., the River Valley Coyotes aren't even awake yet. They're telling the grounds crew, hey, keep it down. Some of us have a den to sleep in. It's pitch dark, 2 degrees above freezing, and these guys are out there in the fairway with flashlights, tweezers, and 3 gallons of high-test Tim Hortons. They don't just cut grass. This is a high-stakes botanical cosmetic surgery. They manicure each individual blade of bent grass like it's going to the Oscars. If a rogue dandelion so much as sneezes within 4 zip codes of the 16th hole, a SWAT team and rubber boots repels it of a helicopter and vaporizes it with a blowtorch. They roll those putting greens so slick, so fast, that if you sneeze on the 14th green, your ball ends up in downtown Calgary by Tuesday afternoon. And the sand traps, have you seen these bunkers? They rake them into perfect, pristine parallel lines. It doesn't look like a sand trap. It looks like a corduroy jacket worn by a high school geography teacher back in 1984. So when you're watching the broadcast this weekend, don't just cheer for the birdies. Raise a cup of black coffee to the crew standing in the tree line, smelling like fertilizer, two-stroke oil, and pure Edmonton grit. Cam and Eggs, Friday, August the 21st. Excellent edition, courtesy of our friend Cam Tate. When we come back, we're going to talk a lot more golf. It's Golfing with the G-Man, brought to you by the Country Club Tour. Gary Meyer, the long-time Lifetime Achievement Award golf professional, in studio with us. And we're going to be joined by Ray Milne, another lifetime pro for the PGA of Canada at 10:20. Before all that, let's get to a Sports 1440 update brought to you by AWS Welding Supplies in Nisku. Product sales, servicing, calibrating, and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. Your one-stop shop for all things welding, awswelding.ca. Here is Donovan Paulson.
The Sports 1440 update.
CFL action tonight. The Elks are hosting the Bombers tonight at Commonwealth Stadium. You can, of course, continue to get your tickets. Kickoff going at 7:30. The Jays, they're back in action, this time in New York for a series with the Yankees. Mason Fluharty, he'll be getting the bullpen start for the Jays. Cam Schlittler going for the Yankees. Other games around the majors, including a matinee affair between the Brewers and Braves. The Red Sox, they are hosting the San Francisco Giants. The Rays clash with the Orioles. The Mets are in Chi-Town to take on the White Sox. Royals hosting the Tigers. Rangers host the Angels once again. And the Cubbies, they are in Seattle to battle the Mariners. Coming up next on Sports 1440, it is Golfing with the G-Man. Gary Meyer joins the show. I'm Donovan Paulson. That's your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Tee up for a great day on the course and support the Stony Plain Eagles Senior Men's Hockey Club. It's the Stony Plain Eagles Golf Tournament. Gather your foursome and join the Eagles August 25th at the Links at Spruce Grove for a 2 p.m. shotgun start. Enjoy a fantastic afternoon of golf, great company, and friendly competition, all while supporting the Stony Plain Eagles. Get all the details and register today at stonyplaineagles.com.
Recently, our company softball team lost the big game by 1 run. Then Dale tried to console us with the quote, "Winning isn't everything." Well, Dale and I are very different. I get early payout at Bet365. If my team goes up big, I get paid out instantly, even if they blow the lead later. Sound familiar, Dale? Thanks, Bet365.
Must be 18 or older. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply. T's and C's apply.
Summer weekends in Alberta mean one thing. Tournament season.
I brought the folding chairs. I brought the sunscreen.
I brought the umbrella, just in case.
But who brought the snacks to get through a doubleheader?
I got Alberta's best beef jerky.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky. The ultimate sideline fuel. Whether you're cheering on the kids or watching the pros, load up on Alberta's best beef jerky.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Any project, big or small, when you need metal cut to your exact measurements fast, count on Metal Supermarkets, a warehouse bursting at the seams with inventory, plus metal bending, drilling, punching, notching, plasma cutting, welding, even delivery. Endless possibilities. Now imagine what they can do for you.
How about a garage shelf?
Think bigger, my friend.
2 garage shelves?
There you go.
I live on the edge.
The local convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
Caesars is Alberta's anytime, anywhere sportsbook. Stay in the action with your favorite teams and players. Whether you're camping, kayaking, or catching a show this summer, bet wherever you are, whenever you want. Plus, Caesars Sportsbook offers fast payouts and flex parlays, a new way to keep your bet alive even if a pick misses. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app today.
Must be 18 or older and physically present in Alberta to gamble. Must be 21 or older to use Caesars Sportsbook. If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply. Please play responsibly.
The Tom Gazzola Show. 60% talent, 40% Swedish hair cream. Edmonton's sports leader. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Great one to tee up our final co-host of the week as Brandon Douglas sitting in for Tom Gazzola. He is Gary Meyer. He is the longtime golf professional. And as always, he's in from 10 to 11 on a Friday morning for Golfing with the G-Man. It's brought to you by the Country Club Tour. 7 great courses, all within an hour drive of the middle, dead center of downtown Edmonton. You can head out to Whitetail, check out, to Mundare to check out Whitetail Crossing. You got the Goose up by Gibbons, Raven Crest on the northeast side, over on the west side, Sandpiper, River Ridge, and of course Montgomery Glen down by Wetaskiwin, and the great Red Tail Landing right by the airport. All awesome. Get your cards. You can get them for next season. Early bird pricing is out there for your 2027 cards. You don't want to miss it. So check them out, countryclubtour.com. Gary, good morning. It is country night at the Elks game tonight at Commonwealth Stadium. You like a little Brooks and Dunn to bring you in today, or what?
Yeah. No, I'm a country fan. I mean, grew up CFCW. I mean, we lived on the farm, and
you and a million other people, the diehards of CFCW. Would have been 790 at that point, not 840.
Yep. Yeah. 790.
Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah, it goes way back. Yeah, we had, matter of fact, it was so long ago we had to watch TV by candlelight. I mean, it was tough. What is the deal with radio? So you get the gig, like Tom gets the gig. You know, Reno's all over the map. He's thinking that this is great. The kid's had more holidays, than he's been here. How's this work?
Well,
and now you're going away. But you're going to race.
It has been quite the topic of contention this week, because I'm not sure if you're aware, but Jason Greger is also on holidays this week. So they really are kind of letting the inmates run the asylum this week inside the building. And for Tom, I'll see if this will change your mind at all. Both weeks Tom has taken off. He is volunteering his time at hockey schools.
Oh, good for him.
Developing the next generation of greats. This week he's down in Calgary at the Gretzky hockey camp.
Oh, okay.
He's Ty Gretzky.
Yep,
Tom knows him pretty well, so he goes down and helps him out.
Now,
Excuse me?
Do they hold that out at Canada Olympic Park? Where do they go?
That I'm not too sure. That might be a question you can ask Tom upon his return next Friday.
Okay. Now, what about you going off to the Blue Jays? You're going to see 3 games next week?
3 games. We're going to see a game against the Royals and then a couple against the Mariners because so this weekend set against the Yankees is obviously important when you're in the Jays spot. Every game is. But after this, their schedule is dominated by games against teams that are below 500 and below or around them in the standings. They're going to play a lot of games against the teams that are duking it out for that final wild card spot and also some lower teams that are not in the playoff picture.
Well,
so it seems more favorable to get themselves over that hurdle and back into the playoffs.
Yeah, well, they've certainly created a stir. I mean, they were kind of flat there for a long
Oh,
time.
were they
and,
ever?
Everybody's kind of back on the bandwagon chasing it down. So, that's good.
And-
hey, did you check out my hat?
Says number 3.
Number
think.
3.
I
The
assume
first-
that's an old Hammy.
That's right.
Hammy
It's
reference.
The first Edmonton Oiler to have his number retired. It's his birthday. It's either today or tomorrow.
Oh.
80 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, he looks 90, but he's 80 years old, and he can do anything a 96-year-old can do. So,
Yeah, it's an absolute legend. We've had him in studio. Al Hamilton. He's brought his boys in here a couple times. The one still, I think, down in Australia.
Andrew and Brett. Yeah, the 2 boys.
Plying their trades. So
Yeah, one's down there, and the other one works for Lyle Kurtz at CVS Controls. They got a tournament coming up out at Trestle Creek on the 26th. I'm going to go out there and watch things happen out there.
This weekend, though, your attention is kind of split. I want to start on the local level before we get to the PGA and the BMW Championship. The CPKC Women's Open being hosted at the Royal Mayfair. Such a great get for the city. Obviously, it was here, 2013, I believe, was the last time it was at the Mayfair when Lydia Ko was the champion of it, as a matter of fact. And she's back in the field. She was in the pairing, or in the grouping, I should say, with Brooke Henderson yesterday, defending champion and Canadian darling, legend, icon. She was out there in the iconic red polo with the white sleeves, looking, playing the part for the crowd, I think, definitely yesterday. And she shot a great round, 3 under, even through the front, and then turned it up a little bit on the back. She was T14 going into today. Tough field, though, because Mia Yamashita, 8 under.
8 under.
To open things up on day 1 down there.
I look at that, and they're playing from 6,452 yards, or 6,542. Dave Lumley called yesterday and asked, what yardage do they play from? So anyway, that's kind of the range they play.
And just really quickly before I let you continue on, Brooke is 2 under through 7 today. She started on the back, so now she's climbed to T8. She's 5 under now on the week. So a good start today for Brooke after kind of felt, listen, it was a huge crowd gathered at the first tee box, as one would expect, to welcome her and send her off on her way. And she put her first one in the trees on that, because I was talking to you beforehand, for those that are familiar with the Mayfair, they flip the front and back 9 for the tournament, which you don't seem to love the notion of because of essentially the finishing hole comparison. But
18 is 18. The regular 18 is just too great a hole, and you've got such a natural amphitheater there. I got to play in the Labatt's International in 1980, and I look at these ladies going out there, and 8 under. We're playing from pretty much the same yardage back then. I missed the cut, and this lady's 8 under. Like, how lousy was I? Holy
it was a different, Gary, you get a free pass and cop out on that when you just talk about, the equipment and the balls and all that stuff. You were probably still out there playing with Hickory clubs like the crew at Legends last Friday.
No, it was just total lack of talent, I think is what it was. The highlight of the whole week, of course, was spending time getting to see Palmer and Player and Aoki and Bob Charles and that, but and being in the locker room with them. But I came up 18 on the second day, about to miss the cut, and I was mad, and I hit this thing down the middle, hit a 9-iron in, and it kind of drew in a little bit, landed just on the front part of the green, rolled up. I had about a 20-footer, and Gary Player was coming to the first tee, which is, of course, right there. Well, the crowd is spilled all over the place, down the fairway and everything.
There,
So I walk up, and I ram this thing in for birdie, and the crowd goes nuts, and now they're looking at the the players list going, who's this guy? Who's this guy? Well, that's the guy who's going to jam his clubs in the trunk of his car and leave because he missed a cut. That's who this guy is. But it was a highlight. It was nice to, to be able to say that you competed against, some of the best in
some
the
of the
world.
very best.
And it was, it was great. But I'll tell you what, the Royal Mayfair's done just a bang up job. And you watch it on TV. I mean, those greens are just silky smooth.
The course is in unbelievable condition. When I get it. It's a private club and the resources are tremendous. What can you not control in the world, Gary? The weather.
Exactly.
And the amount of moisture that this city has endured so far this summer, it is literally a record-setting summer in terms of rainfall and moisture that they've accumulated here in the capital region. And they've managed to manage the course so well that it looks beautiful. It looks pristine. The rough is lush. Man, for someone that probably has way better vision and eyes than me, if you're not standing right over top of that when that thing lands, you can't even see it down the fairway, and obviously then in turn making some tough second shots if you're missing fairways for these golfers out there this week. And with all that being said, man, those ladies, they are just tremendous. To get the chance to see it up close and personal really is something else that I've never got the chance to experience before, being at a pro event like this. And I'm really glad that I've taken the time to go down, and I'm hoping to do so again for the final round come Sunday. Even though, as you said, and I do agree with you, golf is one of those sports that is kind of best enjoyed on TV because you get to see everything.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So
we were talking about that earlier. Daryl Meyer and I went to the U.S. Open at Oak Hill in Rochester, New York, and it rained. Curtis Strange ended up winning his second back-to-back. But the problem is you're standing on the side, and the angle, if you're a player, you like to see it, from the back. You like to see
like the ball flight and stuff, right?
The shot shaping and what they're looking at and where they've hit it. So you're kind of jammed up the side, and it was a nice experience. Danny Halderson was there, so we got some clubhouse passes and things like that, and got to go places where everybody else couldn't go.
Right.
But
and I'll tell you what, I was actually kind of beneficial of that because with a media pass, I get access to some of the practice areas, right? That the general fans do not. And as a result, with the huge congregation of people that were around the first tee box, 10th tee box, for Brooke yesterday, everyone's, and a lot of the officials and volunteers are like, oh, you can't stand here. This is the entrance to the practice area. It's like a little hillside where you get a better look onto the tee box wherever in the crowds are. I'm allowed to stand up there because I have my media pass, so I got a great view of Brooke and Lydia and Lee, who is their final group mate, all teeing off there. Which on the first tee, you're obviously the water's to your right, you kind of come across, and then it's a dog leg to the right. You can hit a really good one if you kind of cut the V in the trees and lay one out there, just kind of looking into the greens. So I was very fortunate for kind of a similar reason where you get a little bit of special treatment to a certain extent.
Well, that's good. No, and that's the way it should be,
I did want to ask you, Gary, before we move on to the BMW. I know we got your buddy Ray Milne coming up here in a few minutes. The Pro-Ams for these tournaments.
Yeah.
I was there on Wednesday and kind of, watching a little bit, but there's, like 4 or 5 people usually golfing with each pro and each grouping and stuff. How do they pick those people? Who are they?
Well, it's usually 3 people. So you play in a foursome. And these are sponsors, people, and also people who have paid to play in the event. So if the opportunity's there, it's X number of dollars to play and you can play. So they would open it to.
Would say members at the Mayfair get a first crack at that or first right of refusal?
Yep, they would. Okay. But sponsors first.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
And then is there some, because I know there were some TSN folks that are obviously out here covering it. I know I saw some of them playing in it as well. So like media members and stuff.
Sure.
And I assume over your years you've played in probably a fair share of those.
Yeah. Well, you used to have the Pro-Ams and some of the bigger events. If the Pro-Am was full, you played in what they called the Pro Bonus.
Oh, okay.
So you would play earlier in the morning or in the afternoon. And there was a cash purse put up for that. And the better players were always put in the Pro-Am side because, you want the premier guys out there with your sponsors and stuff like that. So, the BC Open, I showed up early just out of chance. And I walked in and Wayne Ballmer said, have you got your clubs? I said, yeah, but I'm in the pro bonus. He said, no, not anymore. He said,
Not anymore.
you're playing with the guys from Lynx. Get out there.
Oh my goodness.
So that was that was my best tournament round. Never saw the golf course before and shot 69.
Really? Hey?
Yeah. So I thought, well, this should be easy. Pick up a nice check for 69. Yeah. Well,
Hey,
yeah.
Get back out there.
No, Doug Ford's son Tom shot 60. So
Oh,
I was only 9 shots back.
Yeah, real close. Real
Yeah,
close contest.
yeah,
And then this text from the Pillman is kind of why I brought it up. Was KK one of the Pro-Am players? LOL. I didn't know he wasn't. I was thinking, I was like, why wasn't Carius out there? This is a local legend. Just retired. What else does he have to do?
Gardening.
At this point of the summer, his game should be in pretty tip-top shape.
Well, no, he's gardening,
Yeah.
Devin Harrias, he's, that's the way it is. No,
Unreal. So really quickly before we get to Ray, the BMW Championship underway here for the PGA. Rough last weekend for the Canadians. None of them advancing through to here to the final. But what's kind of caught your eyes so far?
They're at Bella Rive Country Club in St. Louis.
Mhm.
This is the top 50 in the FedEx standings.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that watching Scotty that. Man, he was missing some short putts. I mean, they were in and out of the hole.
And he
and-
dominated last weekend,
Oh.
even with a little bit of a scare. Kind of was that on Sunday or Saturday? At a little bit of a fall, but he wins it running away.
Yeah, yeah. It's Rory's right there, and I think it's there's some great names at the top. Like it's a top 50. So, and that's a tougher thing to be to go and see because you got a limited number of players,
Right.
And they're spread out. Well,
Pretty thin.
Yeah, it's pretty thin. Yeah, there isn't a
so-
lot of
Yeah,
standing.
it's not like you said. If you go down to the Mayfair this afternoon, like you can pick a spot, and you'll get to watch every group come through at some point or another, or you pick a favorite group and follow them around all to 18 holes. Like where it's an event like that, it's still gonna be pretty popular. There's gonna be a lot of people there, but not as many golfers on the course. So you're a little slimmer pickings
for
about how
sure.
you can take it in. Before we get to Ray, you got a trivia question for us this morning for a chance to win 4 passes to the CCT. The 4 tracks at your disposal: Goose, Whitetail, Redtail, and Montgomery Glen. Great round of free golf for you and 3 friends.
So the question is, Augusta National, the Masters, how many double eagles have been made at the Masters in tournament history?
And educate me here. Is a double eagle different from an albatross?
Same thing.
Yeah,
So it's a 2 on a par 5.
Right. Gotcha. All right. So there's your question. How many albatrosses or double eagles have been made in tournament play at the Masters at Augusta National? Get your text in. The answer, if you're correct, will be put into the pot, and we'll draw out a random winner to win 4 passes to the CCT Country Club Tour, proud sponsor of Golfing with the G-Man. When we come back, Ray Milne, lifetime professional for PGA Canada, will be our guest here on the Tom Gazzola Show. Brandon Douglas sitting in, Gary Meyer alongside Donovan Paulson, Josh Femick, and Connor Spivak all in studio as well. Show brought to you by Bet365.
Do you know why people love working at GS Construction? It's honest work. It's work that needs to be done. And we're really good at what we do. That's why GS Construction has been in business for over 50 years. We won't be wearing a top hat and tails, more like hard hat and boots, because we're heading underground to keep the water flowing in and out of your homes and businesses in Edmonton. GS Construction is currently looking for experienced pipe layers and top men. Visit gsconstruction.ca/careers today.
Kickoff is coming August 21st. Elks, Blue Bombers at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. It's Country Night presented by Innova. Dust off that Canadian tuxedo and bring the honky tonk to the field. Get your tickets at goelks.com/tickets.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is serious about cooling. In fact, we offer multiple ways to cool your home. So you better
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you're looking for traditional air conditioning, we got you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Or ask us about a heat pump to help you heat and cool.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Cool with AC or cool with a heat pump. Cool your home with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Car shopping sucks. That's right. Going back and forth 100 times just to get a price. Give me your credit card for a test drive. What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. And don't forget about our employee pricing. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
This jersey was worn by the legend himself, signed and everything. You can't just wear it. I'm framing it with expressions and images.
Your prize jersey deserves better than the closet. Think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
Plan for success in 2027 with help from the Co-op Grow team. With the latest on-farm technology, our agronomists will work with you to gather and interpret soil samples, analyze data, and gain more insight into your fields. We offer local expertise and trusted advice to help you plan your inputs and prepare for the unexpected. Get ready to make data-driven decisions with Co-op Ag Zone Field. Make a successful 2027 crop plan to meet your field's potential. Talk to your Co-op Grow team today.
Alberta, this one's for you. Around here, trust takes a few winters. It's why players have known Jackpot City since 1998. Home to hundreds of exciting casino games, live dealer action, and new adventures waiting to be discovered. Jackpot City, nothing beats the original. Please play responsibly, 18 years or older, Alberta only.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca.
From the first face-off to the final, Sports 1440 is your home for hockey talk. With live coverage, expert analysis, and pre- and post-game shows, we bring you closer to the game. Tune in 24/7, only on Sports 1440, Edmonton's sports station. The Tom Gazzola Show. 60% talent, 40% Swedish hair cream. Edmonton's sports leader. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Welcome back into the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas happy to be sitting in for Tommy G one final morning. Gary Meyer alongside for our weekly Friday 10 to 11 Golfing with the G-Man segment brought to you by the Country Club Tour. The program itself brought to you by Bet365. Canada has hit the biggest home run of the summer. Bet365 is available in Alberta and here to stay. Download the app. Must be 18 plus. Please play responsibly. Excited to welcome in our final guest of the show and a legend of the game, of the community, Ray Milne, lifetime professional of PGA of Canada and just about to hit the links himself, my understanding. Ray, good morning. Thanks for taking some time with Gary Meyer and myself today. Much appreciated.
Yeah, my pleasure. You bet.
So, Ray, we'll get to your golf game that you got coming up in a second here, but I want to start things off. I'm just on your Find a Pro profile here at PGA, and this is quite the designation. 50-year member, Gary, Class A life professional, and still getting it done over at the Derrick Golf and Winter Club. But man, that's quite a list of accomplishments. So before I even get into your biography on this page here.
Yeah, well, it's golf has been good to me. I've loved the business, and I've been surrounded by people basically since I was 12 years old when I started working at Highland. So I enjoy it. If I didn't, I wouldn't be there. So the people at the Derrick are really good to me. They're like a second family away from my Highlands club. So yeah, no, it's been a great run, and I really enjoyed the business. So
awesome.
Only 50 years at the Highlands.
Yeah.
Ray, we were talking yesterday. Tell them about the conditions for the Henry Martell when you guys were coming in. That was unbelievable.
Oh yeah, this year, well, like every golf course in the city and surrounding area, the weather, needless to say, has been of biblical proportion, shall we say. But we had our first round of our Henry Martell Pro-Am, which is one of the longest standing Pro-Ams in the province, I believe now. And so the first round, everybody's pumped up, of course, like they always are. And we get to our last hole, and the young guy on our team says to me, Ray, we got to get this hole finished and get in as quickly as possible because we're in the middle of the storm cell. and so we just got into the clubhouse, and most everybody finished. I think there was only 4 groups that didn't finish. And the storm came down. At first, we thought it was a fog that had rolled in. That's how hard it was raining. And what happens at Highlands is it's one of the older areas in the city, and usually what happens is that Ada Boulevard can't accommodate all of the water that comes from a storm of that significance. And so we have one little sewer that looks after our parking lot and can more than look after our parking lot, but it can't look after Ada Boulevard. So what happened was Ada Boulevard flooded. All of the water now has got nowhere to go except both ends of our parking lot. And everybody is in the clubhouse getting ready to have our dinner and stuff. And all of a sudden, the storm hit. The parking lot overfilled, comes down our beautiful entrance that we have to our clubhouse, and it takes all of the wood chips on the hillside with it, some plants, and hits the clubhouse, goes down both sides of the clubhouse, and ends up on the 18th green. And from there, then everybody is now filming this on their cell phones from the clubhouse windows. And then all of a sudden, the sewer lids pop down on our 18th hole. And now the hole is like completely disappeared. And so anyhow, what was pretty neat of the membership at the Highlands, we had approximately 25 people that stuck around till almost 12:30 p.m. that night, helping the grounds crew in hopes that we might be able to play the second round. And I thought to myself, there isn't a chance in hell are we going to be playing golf the next day, because I've seen a lot of storms at Highlands, but nothing quite like that one. And lo and behold, 2 o'clock the next day, we teed it up for the second shotgun in the second round of the tournament. And at 2:15, the sirens went off, and we had a second tsunami that hit the place, and that was the end of the tournament. So this year, the Martel was a 1-round tournament. So,
Jeez. How did you do?
Well, I started the year shooting my age or under my age.
Well, you're 90. You're 94 now, aren't you?
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
But since then, I found that shooting my weight is a lot easier to do. So I'm mastering that right now.
Okay. Well, my deal, I said, what you do is you go out, you hit it 69 times, you just walk in wherever you're from.
Yeah,
And then,
there you go.
And guys say, what'd you shoot? 69. They don't say, what'd you shoot on 18? You just,
Right.
what'd you shoot? Well,
Exactly.
so after 14 or 69, thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're one of those sandbaggers the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. Reverse sandbagging. Yeah, you got it.
The guy you don't ever want to have on your team at Pro-Am.
Yeah. Well, you know what? As being the head professionals at times, and you know this, you've had to put guys on your own team that you know there's just no way, because you wouldn't want to, have anybody else have to bear that cross. So
Yeah,
we've all done that. But I mean, you're an Alberta PGA champion, great player, still can get it going. Can you still hit it fairly much out of sight?
Yeah, occasionally I have, as I call them, flashbacks of yesteryear. And I think, geez, I can hit that ball pretty far at times.
Geez, I can
always know what direction it goes.
Right.
but I can
That's
still
always the
hit it.
caveat there.
Well,
isn't it?
yeah, no, your direction was good in the younger days, playing in the assistant stuff like that. I mean, when guys were hitting it far, you were hitting it farther. Was a thing.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Yep.
an awesome thing. So you and Ray Mara, the guys that don't know, Ray was the head professional up at Fort McMurray, the first one they ever had.
That's
And
right.
the two of you are working over at the Derrick and staying in the business and staying involved. And this today, I think you named the guys the Old Raisins. There's how many of you or I guess they're all former golf professionals.
Yeah.
Um,
We have as many as 12 at times.
Yeah.
And more often than not, on our Friday games, we'll have 8 guys.
Okay.
So and we've got a few younger ones, so we call them craisins instead of raisins because they're not old enough to be raisins yet.
No, I got you. So there's a number of golf courses that have opened up to allow the guys to go out and play, and I mean that's very generous of them. And you're heading out to Fortin View. Gordy
Yeah,
Hayward.
we're playing Fortin View today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gordy Hayward's been there forever. He may have 50 years in out there.
Yeah, and actually Butch Tomlinson is here with us today as well.
Yeah.
And Butch, I believe, was their first pro under Walter Buck.
Oh, really?
I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly when the Fortin View course opened, but when Walter opened it, Butch, I'm pretty sure, was their first head pro.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, Dr. Walter Buck. That's right. You know who really helped him along was Lyle Kurtz. He didn't live far from there, and when he needed a little cash insert, Lyle would help him out and kept that facility going. So, I've never been out there. I wouldn't even know how to get there. I've played the 9-holer in town, which is a lot of fun.
That is a fun tour. The curling club course, a lot of fun.
We had some pro-ams there back in the day that were some real wing dingers.
Yeah, that was Al McKenzie's little domain, if I recall.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, Spud was there, and then he ended up going up to Penticton, and he's still out there somewhere. But So how many rounds have you got in this year, Ray, with the rain and everything?
I think I'm at about 42, something like that, and almost half of them have been with our raisin group on Fridays.
Okay, well that's good. So what's left? You'll play right into? Will you play into October?
Yeah, we're doing a little three-dayer. We've going to go to JPL, and we're playing there on I think it's the 18th of September. And then we're playing Matt Morose, one of our assistants at Highlands last year, is now the head pro at Hinton. He's invited us to play there, so we're playing Jasper, then Hinton, then hopefully Edson the next day.
All right. So you'll see Trent Wright at Edson. I didn't realize that Donnie Morose's son had become a head professional. Good for him. I played with him years ago at PGA West, and what a nice young man he is.
Oh yeah. Matty was one of the best finds that Highlands has ever had. So really good kid.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome. Well, you must have had something to do with that, I would think.
Well, yeah, I put in a couple of good words for him. So yeah. He's been a treat. He also worked for me when I ran the curling at the Derrick. So Matty, I've known him for a while and know what kind of a kid he is and what kind of a worker he is. So yeah, he's a gem for sure.
Yeah.
So I hope he does well in Hinton.
Well, that's when you're going out to that part of the country. It's good job scheduling it later into the fall or as late as you can. Hopefully the bears are already in hibernation at that point, and you don't have any trouble running into them at Edson, Hinton, or at JPL.
Right, because at our age, we can't run as fast as we used to.
And that's always the key, though, isn't it, Ray? You don't have to be the fastest. You just can't be the slowest in those exact situations.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why you want to play with Art New. So.
There you go.
Ray Milne, lifetime professional with the PGA down at the Derrick Golf and Winter Club. Now our guest here on the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas and Gary Meyer in studio here on a Friday morning. I just wanted to jump in quickly here, Ray, because you mentioned it, right? Like you were at the Highlands for 52 years total, which as your kind of bio points out, it's a pretty easy resume to fill out when you go looking for your next spot, which obviously landed you at the Derrick, and it's been great for you there. But getting started for you, and growing up so close to the Highlands there, what did it actually look like beginning the game of golf and then actually kind of getting on staff and turning into a golf pro at Highlands?
Well, I was lucky enough I used to go down because I only lived a block from Highlands, and I used to go down quite often and steal balls. And then finally I got caught by a guy, and he said, we've been watching you all summer. You come down, you steal a ball, and then you run back up the hill. So why don't you play the game instead of stealing our balls all the time? So I thought about it, and my brother-in-law at the time took me to the old Humane Jewelers on one of the local pawn shops on 112th Avenue, and he had an extra starter set of left-handed irons, and we took them in, traded them for a right-handed set, and then my mom went to $1.49 day at Woodward's the following Monday and bought me a sleeve of Mercury golf balls and a putter that she got for $1.49 day. And that was how Ray Milne started at the game. And then I had a neighbor that was a fireman, and he would go golfing somewhere all the time, and I'd hit plastic balls out on the front lawn. And he said, well, you can come with me one of these times. So that's what ended up happening. So, and then I was lucky enough, of course, I wanted to get some better equipment than what I had. So I asked Mr. Martell at the time if he needed any help, and he kind of took a shine to me. And next thing I know, I'm scrubbing hooks at the Highlands for Henry Martell, who at that time, of course, was a real somebody. And it kind of all stemmed from there. So I just happened to be lucky at the right time, and I mean, Highlands has been Highlands is my second home. That's
No, I think Highlands is your first home. I think the amount of time you spent there was like me at Broadmoor. It was just one of those things that when you got there, the difference between you and I is that Broadmoor had a driving range. So I started there doing that, and then in the back shop, and then you work your way up, and you touch all the bases all the way through, and you spend a lot of time learning the trade and doing all that. Then you know what to expect from your staff. And that's why there's been so many great golf professionals follow a guy like you that, were turned out because you were mentored the right way. I mean, the work ethic was certainly different. And, you were there when the sun came up and you went home when the sun went down. And loved it. And you couldn't wait to do it again the next day.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Yeah.
And you almost had that golf ball system gamed from the start, Ray, with going out there and stealing them. Your problem was you need to walk back up the hill and then sell them back to the course again. And then you could have really got that slush fund going for those new clubs before you latched on with your crew there at the course. So it's a great story, and obviously a lifetime inside the game has obviously been pretty rewarding for you on a number of levels. I would think fair to say, no?
Yes, for sure. I mean, I've been lucky enough to have a fair amount of success in my years of playing younger, and I was able to win the Edmonton Open and the Alberta PGA Championship. So those are things, and I represented the province in the Canadian Assistance Tournament at Islesmere in Quebec, and those are things that. I've been blessed with a pretty good golf game over the years, and golf is, as I said, has been very good to me. So
well, as good as golf has been for you, you've been very, very good for golf, and for so many of the young professionals that followed you. I mean, you set the bar awful high, and coming down from working for Henry, the expectations were high, and you met all those, and everybody that talks about you has great respect for who you are and what you've done, and as much as a good player, you're just a good guy, and what can I say? Just a great representative when it comes to golf and professional golf.
Yeah.
Well, I always say we're in the business of fun, and when the fun leaves, then I'll leave. And right now I'm still having fun. So
still having a ton of fun. And with that being said, what time you set to tee off out at Fortinview here this morning, Ray?
Well, I think I hear my group actually shouting at me now. So
we'll tell you what, we'll take that as our cue to cut you loose. Have a great day out there. Enjoy it. It's a beautiful afternoon once again here in the City of Champions, or just outside the city, that is. Thanks a lot for your time this morning. Great to catch up with you, and we'll look forward to doing so again down the line here.
My pleasure, fellas. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Raimundo. Always good. Always great. Thank you.
Ray Milne, down at the Derrick Golf and Winter Club, and 50 plus years in the biz, 50-year pro. And like you said, Gary, in your note to me, lifetime professional PGA of Canada member at this point. So tell me this, Gary, just give a little clarification because I mentioned it in kind of my intro for him. Class A, life professional.
So
Is there a Class B that maybe someone like you could slide into? Or what?
Yeah. No, I was in the no class.
Yeah.
Very little class.
This man's without class.
Yeah. No, back in the day, it used to be that you were a Class B when you were an assistant.
Okay.
And you did your all your programs, and you had tests and things like that at the end of the year. So you would try to get your Class A in the first 5 years. So there was a playing ability test. Yeah, you had all the lab reports that you had to turn in, and so after 5 years, if you completed those, then you moved to a Class A, and you could be a Class A associate, which meant that you worked under another Class A.
pro.
Yeah, and then when you got your position, you would then become the Class A head professional.
Gotcha.
And in my case, because it happened so early, I was actually a J2, which is a head professional without A standing, because I was a second year assistant, and I ended up getting the job at Belvedere at the age of 18.
Oh,
which was
so you're a bit of a prodigy.
Rare. Yeah, it was, well, at the timing and everything, and golf at that time was, wasn't as popular, and they wanted somebody young to kind of pioneer things out there, and that's what I did. I spent 16 years there, and hopefully for the betterment of the club. And
I would say
we had some great guys that follow me. Al LG, Jay Barrett, who's out there now is Greg Schubert, and Greg's we've had him on. And boy, did they get flooded. Holy smokes. I mean, it was so bad out there that they closed Highway 21.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
right across
we
the
were
road.
talking about it a couple weeks ago when I was making the trip down on a Sunday to Stettler, go see my niece and nephew show some cattle. Like, I was worried on my way back after driving past it south, and then I drove through rain on my way back all the way from Camrose up to that point of the highway, and I was like, this isn't going to be open. Like, it's going to be across the road by the time I get there, and it was just about to that point. You could tell they still had the markers and stuff out that it had been closed and was expecting to be closed again at some point or another.
Well, it was going through as fast as it could through the golf course, and there was water in places there's never been water.
Yeah.
And at the other end, where it comes out, I mean, they had the pumps going in that 8 million gallon pond there, trying to get it caught up, and from there it goes down to Countryside, so they were flooded.
Yeah.
And then over to Mill Woods, and they were flooded, and then down to the river. So yeah, it was just a combination of unbelievable circumstances out there.
When we come back, we will wrap up the show. We'll wrap up the week, as a matter of fact, and it's been a fun one, no doubt about it. And we will give away our 4-pack of passes, maybe the better way to phrase that, 4-pack of passes to the CCT, you and 3 friends to go play 18 holes. If you can correctly answer Gary Myers trivia question, and then after doing so with that, are lucky enough to be the name selected out of our draw. So, Gary, one more time, your question to get people a last chance dash to get entered in here.
Augusta National, the Masters tournament. In the history of the Masters, how many double eagles have been made in tournament play?
In tournament play, that's the important thing. So get your answers in, 1-833-401-1440. We'll let you know what's coming up on the station the rest of the day, and send you off into the rest of your Friday on a big positive note. Brandon Douglas sitting in on the Tom Gazzola Show. Gary Meyer alongside Josh Fenwick, Connor the Intern, and Donovan Paulson in studio as well. The show, you can watch it. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch, and it's brought to you by Bet365.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
What's 426 divided by 12? Okay, if I carry the one, yeah, we're out. Go Auto has a free credit calculator that does the math for you. See what you could qualify for, estimate your payments, and get a better idea of what's in your budget. Because shopping for a vehicle is exciting, but crunching numbers, yeah, not so much. Text check to 780-777-7777. That's check to 780 all sevens.
Struggling to find skilled workers? What if you could fill your talent pipeline with motivated, pre-vetted youth and receive funding to support your efforts? At Careers the Next Generation, we connect Alberta employers with interns in skilled trades, IT, agriculture, forestry, and more. All WCB covered, high school accredited, safety trained, and ready to contribute from day one. With 83% of RAP students continuing their apprenticeships after high school, investing in youth today means securing your workforce for tomorrow. Don't wait. Visit careersnextgen.ca to get started.
1 in 3 Canadians aren't getting enough sleep. Let the Brick help you sleep better for less. Save 40% on the Sealy Crown Jewel Resort mattress. Get cheap starting at just $49. And buy one pillow, get the second one for just $10. Plus, take up to 55 months to pay with no interest and no money down. And with next day delivery in Edmonton, you can start sleeping better right away. Some conditions apply. OAC. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Does your bank do local? We do. When you bank with Vision Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Albertan cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
I finished a 5K in 94th place, right after a man wearing jeans. Then a volunteer gave me a medal. But I don't want participation trophies, unless they're from Bet365. With their daily prize matcher game, I win by matching gold coins, cherries, and more. Take that, denim man. Thanks, Bet365.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211.
The Tom Gazzola Show with guest host Brandon Douglas on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
Presented by Bet365. Alberta, we are here to stay.
Home stretch of the Tom Gazzola Show on Sports 1440. Brandon Douglas in for a final dozen minutes or so of the program. Tommy G back Monday morning. Eddie Steele will be alongside, as will Donovan and the rest of the gang in here to recap a very busy weekend in the sporting world, including Elks and Blue Bombers tonight at Commonwealth Stadium. 7:30 kickoff. Get down there. Get to the tailgate. It's country night. Maybe you can see Eddie Steele in his boots if he's got his jeans tucked into his boots again, like he did when he went to the Morgan Wallen concert. A real spectacle to see Eddie. And even Speck's coming back in. You know it's a big deal, Gary, when Speck leaves the cabin out at Alberta Beach, makes his way back into the city. That only happens when the Oilers do something crazy in the middle of August and a Friday night football game.
He'll be dressed up. He'll have his downtown boots on, the rich ones. Those are the rubber boots with the red toes.
With the red toes on them. Yeah. Gary Meyer alongside in studio this morning for Golfing with the G-Man, brought to you by the Country Club Tour. Get your early bird passes. Half price, Gary. Half price. $100 gets you your 2027 CCT membership card, which, by the way, gives you discounts at all 7 courses on the tour. Do you know, Gary, how many rounds you would have to play to call it pay off or justify this $100 investment?
How about 1.5?
2.5.
Oh, okay.
2.5. It is an unbelievable deal. You can't beat it. You know what this makes, Gary? An excellent stocking stuffer.
Stocking stucker.
A stocking stucker for your loved one who is a golf fan here in the Edmonton and area. 7 courses, all within less than an hour of downtown YEG. Now, your trivia question, Gary, was a good one. How many double eagles or albatrosses, if you prefer, have been accomplished and scored at Augusta National in tournament play at the Masters.
Yep.
And your correct answer is...
There has been 4 in the
And there's
history.
a fun fact to go with that.
Well, the fun fact is that they are on holes 2, 8, 13, and 15. Those are the par 5s at Augusta National. And there's only ever been 1 on each hole.
Isn't that unique?
And going all the way back to 1935
Right.
when Gene Sarazen makes the double eagle on 15, which vaults him into a tie with Craig Wood, and they go playoff, and he wins by 5. But yeah, amazing. Hey, listen, I forgot to mention this, that I have finally, the deal's closed. I'm out of the acreage. So we went for dinner the other night. I went with Ashley and Daryl and Denise, my good friends, and we went to Montana's, and we were talking about a former Oiler who played in the WHA, Tom Gilmore. And Tom, Flin Flon boy, like he worked in the bush lots when he was younger and
All
stuff
the way
like
from
that.
Flin Flon, Manitoba.
Flin Flon, Manitoba. Anyway, he is, he's very good with the chainsaw and safety oriented and stuff like that.
Oh,
but
boy.
but he was up a tree, and he went to change from right hand to left hand. Well, that saw cut him on the head, cut an artery. It looked like somebody had plowed, like from front to back. Lucky, and knocked him out of the tree. Lucky, like he said, very lucky, he said, and very stupid.
Yeah.
He knows so much better. And one of those things where you just, I can do this. Holy smoke, just about, yeah.
I've found
top of
in
his head off.
my number of accidents that I've incurred against myself, usually over the years, particularly at the farm, where that is almost always the case, where you do something and you're like, whew, that was lucky. And then you say, I'm going to be the dumbest person ever to live with some of the things that you try and do. So always preaching, get your PPE on, take the necessary precautions, no matter what you're doing, no matter how experienced you are as well. As you said, a guy that's very versed in the handling of such equipment.
Especially on the farm, you think, well, I can just reach over there a little bit. And I can remember my grandfather, when we get a piece of equipment, the first thing he'd do is take all the safety guards off because they were a pain in the ass.
They get in the way when you're trying to fix it.
Exactly.
Right? So,
yeah, and then slow you down.
And
you
in my
need production.
experience, at least at our farm growing up, we're never running very new equipment, so you got to fix it a lot. And as a result, taking all those safety guards on and off each and every time, what a pain in the ass.
That's right. No,
but they are there for a reason.
Yeah, you run it, you bend it back, you break it, you weld it, you haywire it back together, and finally, when it's done, you have to go buy a new one.
Exactly.
So,
coming up on the station today, top of the hour is going to be the Frenzy, Connor Halley, Donovan Paulson, and Josh Fenwick, plus Connor the intern. Always a great get at this time of year. So the Canadian Derby going this weekend from down at Century Racetrack by the airport there. Frank Fontana, the legend.
They're at the post.
Even Gary knows Frank. He's like, isn't that the guy down the racetrack? Yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, we owned horses. Daryl and Meyer and I was a group of us. We had thoroughbreds and we had standardbreds. We had the jugheads. So
that's awesome. So Frank's going to be in to tee up the Canadian Derby, give some tips, some maybe ideas about where if you're going down to the ponies, which I know a whole group of guys that's going tomorrow for a bachelor party. I unfortunately won't be there because I have another wedding that I have to go to instead. So always busy. Noon to 2, the lowdown with Low Tide. No Declan today, as he's off to a wedding of his own out in Victoria, I believe. And then from 2 to 6, the Jason Greger Show will drive you home into the weekend. Connor Halley sitting in on that show as well. Joined in progress at the conclusion of the Greger Show will be Blue Jays and Yankees game number 1 from the Bronx. First of 3 pivotal series over the weekend for Toronto. Gary, excellent stuff as always. Thank you for coming and thanks for lining up.
Who was our winner?
Aaron was our winner. Congratulations, Aaron. Donovan sent you a note to follow up with the necessary information, and we'll get you set up with those 4 passes, you and 3 friends, to go play 18 holes at a CCT track. Have a great weekend, Gary. I'll be away next week, but I'm sure you'll have plenty of fun with Tom and the crew. Without me.
Yeah, we'll watch Tom comb his hair.
We'll watch Tom comb his hair. Everyone else listening all week long, not just today, but over the course of the last 5. Appreciate your insight, your contributions to the show via the text line. It's been a lot of fun. Always enjoy the chance to sit in the host chair, even just for a handful of days. So we'll send you off into the weekend with a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. I will be away next week, so we'll leave you in the faithful hands of Tom Gazzola back in the big chair and Donnie P back on the ones and twos. Donnie, have a great weekend golfing down in Canmore. Josh, safe travels up to Peace River to visit the lady friend, and we will check in with everybody personally in a couple weeks' time. The Tom Gazzola Show back Monday morning, 7 o'clock. Here is Donovan Paulson.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
CFL action. The Elks hosting the Bombers tonight at Commonwealth Stadium. You can still get your tickets. Kickoff going at 7:30. The Jays back in action tonight again, this time in New York to battle the Yankees. Mason Fluharty going for the Jays in their bullpen start. Cam Schlittler going for the Yankees. You can catch that game live, radio feed only at the conclusion of the Jason Gregor Show. First pitch going at 5:05. You have an afternoon matinee affair between the Brewers and Braves. The Red Sox hosting the Giants just after 5. The Rays clash with the Orioles. The Tigers are in Kansas City. And the Texas Rangers battle the lowly Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Coming up next, it is The Frenzy with Mr. Connor Halley and Josh Fenwick. I'm Donovan Paulson. That is your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West